Caution. Disclaimer. This video is created for educational and entertainment purposes only. It reflects my personal thoughts, questions, and independent research, and is intended to foster a film community and encourage discussion. This content is not meant to offend, slander, or present complete or definitive truths. Please do not attempt to replace anything shown or discussed on this program. Filmtrix Politix podcast and its affiliates are not responsible for any mishaps, misunderstandings, or misinterpretations. All opinions expressed by a guest are their own and do not reflect the views of BLKJAGtv, its content, or the Filmtrix Politix podcast. Enjoy the show, engage respectfully, and be entertained.
Danny got the size, huh?
Camera's going. Filmtrix Politix. Take 3. Yo, what up? We're Filmtrix Politix. Welcome back to the 3rd episode or whatever number this is. We just going with it. I'm glad you guys are hanging out here with me. We got a lot of great stuff for tonight's show. Yes, every Tuesday at 8 p.m., Filmtrix Politix podcast will be showing a great video and show for you. So, what we got going on today is, I think the word of the day is perspective. And we're going to be talking about that, your perspective, my perspective, our guest perspective, because we do have a guest tonight. We do have a guest coming through. I think you guys are going to be very excited about it. So, what's going on right now is I want to kind of talk about like lenses, because in the film world, that's how we create our perspective. That's how we create it and create our stories, the angles that we want to come from when we're telling a story. A lot of times people don't really understand that there's a language being spoken when you're using different angles, different size camera shots. Like, I know you get all crazy when you start hearing like 45 millimeter or 24 millimeter or 18 millimeter lens and stuff like that. Yes, I'm going to talk about lenses, and I don't have a single lens in my hand, and I don't need to, but because I'm talking about perspective and how you use the lens and what it is. And again, you always know I'm going to show something for the visual learners, so I'm going to probably either put a video that's going to come from this direction or that direction, and we're going to watch that right now.
Go over how a lens works. Light passes into the lens and through different glass shapes called lens elements. These elements slightly bend or refract the light, so it lands on a focal point on an image sensor. This is where a picture is created.
Yeah, so we're back. That video is cool. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about perspective with using a lens. So we got things that we're gonna get coverage. But also each lens has its own personality, even the different types of lenses, and we'll talk about that as well. But at the same time, the coverage is how you're telling the story with the images. And it's kind of psychological, because you're making the human person watching it understand the environment, understand the dialogue, understand all the key points in the plot that they need to know by just visually telling the story. Let me let you understand a little bit. When I was in film school, I would watch my TV for about a year and a half or so. My TV's just on mute. I never watched it with sound. And I took a dry erase marker and I would make hash lines over the TV screen. And then I make circles with a hotspot. So if it was a good movie, like a blockbuster movie, and I push pause anywhere, the picture was always a great picture. It was always a great picture. Dynamic, cinematic, everything was in the right spots. So once I got to the certain classes in film school, they started calling those the rule of thirds, the hot spots. These are the spots where you want to put people so you can make sure they're having a conversation. So just as you got an over-the-shoulder shot, which when you're having dialogue, those kind of things help you. So after a little while, I started understanding the language that they were using when they would have the using the certain angles. But then you want to use a certain angle with like a certain lens, and it may not feel right, might work right. So let me just tell you about the coverage shots so you can just have some basic things. Because again, I'm always talking to the filmmaker. I'm the filmmaker's filmmaker. I'm Kane King, and I'm always trying to talk to the filmmaker that's just trying to get out there and make something happen. So the basic cover shots, and this is stuff that you could take with run and gun. Run and gun is like you got a camera and you're out in the field and you're just gathering information, and you got a simple light setup, and you got a camera and you got a camera operator and then a correspondent, and you're run and gun. But in that same thing, we still have the same coverage shots when we're telling the story, just like on the news. It's wide, medium, tight, 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 or tight, 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 medium, wide. Tells a story. So wide is establishing shot. That's everything, wherever you are, is in the shot. The actors, the background, everything, it's in the shot. Then you have a medium shot, and that's usually going to push in a little bit closer, so that way you can know who or what are we focused on in this shot. Like, why are we looking at this? The medium shot can usually give you that. And a medium shot is a very versatile shot. There's so many different kinds. You got a wide medium, you can have a close-up medium, you can have a arcing shot medium where you're going around the subject because maybe they're about to fight or something or face off. And so, but basically it's establishing that we have two or more characters or one or more characters in a location. Because again, you have human beings watching a two-dimensional flat piece of board with pictures on it called a movie screen. And so we have to make depth. We have to make that make sense. So the audience doesn't get out of whack of what's going on and get crazy. Not necessarily get vertigo, but some of those kind of things can happen. You know what I'm saying? But so back to the coverage. So wide, medium, tight, tight, tight. The coverage is, so now you got the medium. Then you're going to go to the tight shot. A tight shot could be, maybe I'm closer on the face so I can see who the character is, want to see some emotion because maybe it's an emotional part of the scene. And then at the same time, you want to get an even tighter shot. Maybe this is focusing on the blouse, focusing on a brooch, focusing on a gun or a knife or a hand or maybe an eyelash movement or something like that. And then you have another tight shot, which can be reserved for an insert. The insert is basically like, say you have a character that's going to go and pick up a cup. And they pick up the cup. And when they pick up the cup, maybe just before that, somebody put like a little poison in the cup, but we want to do a shot just of the poison drop going into the liquid. That would be our insert. And that would give us coverage of this person came into this place and they got poisoned. And so we got the wide shot, the medium shot, and the tight, tight, tight. And when I say doing a reverse, you're just doing a reverse to get the coverage. Now, that's just basic coverage. There's all kind of stuff. And then you're talking about moving the camera and all that. So back to the lenses. The lenses are, if you want to do a wide, so let's keep it simple. Again, we're going to keep it simple. The bigger the number of the lens, the closer you're going to be to your subject. The smaller the number, the wider, the more you're going to have. So example, so when you have a camera, most of you guys probably have an 18 to a 24 millimeter kit lens that goes with your camera. You bought it with it, and that's what you're using. Maybe you went out and bought an aftermarket one. Bravo for you. That's the best step. Some of you may have a 24 to a 70 millimeter lens. That's the next step. That's a great one too. That's a lot of versatility because you can do a wide, medium, and get kind of like a close-up, nice close-up shot with that lens. That's a great lens to have. But that 18 to 24, that's kind of more so a wide lens, and it's a good lens for a novice filmmaker or photographer. So that way, pretty much everything is going to be in focus. If you get close enough to your subject, then you'll start to notice a little bit of the bokeh, the fuzziness, the shallow depth of field behind the subject. You'll start to feel that, but it's it's mostly for a wide shot. So the 18 to 24 millimeter, you want to do a wide shot. So when you see like somebody riding a horse over a hill, and you want to show the whole landscape, that's probably going to be like in the movies, probably like a 10 or a 12 millimeter. Because I think once you get down to 12 millimeter, it starts doing the fisheye effect. And so sometimes you don't want that. You want to keep that flat. So the prettiest wide shot angle lens that I used, I battled with myself because I want to say it was a 10, but I think it was a 12. It just gave the most beautiful landscape shot that I've ever seen. And I've been chasing that shot forever still. But you can get some nice 18 millimeter shots. I think I love the 24. Now the 35, that one is like the gladiator lens, the 35 millimeter. That one is very forgiving when you're moving the camera and walking with the camera. If you don't have a 24, 18, it can do a good wide shot, but it doesn't like to. You know what I'm saying? But notice how I'm talking about the lens like they have their own personality, because they do. They all had their personality. My favorite is the 85. That one is like the Lambo Ferrari of the lenses for me. Is the 85 millimeter. It gets in there nice and tight and sweet and got a nice shallow depth of field where it's like a thick cloudy murk behind them. Whatever stuff you have behind them. And that's why it's good to understand lighting. And we'll have that episode. You'll catch that here coming up soon. But it's good to have some good 3-point lighting in order for you to really get some dynamic shots with the lenses that you have. So again, I wasn't coming here trying to get all techie with you. That's why I didn't have any lenses on me, because it's not about the lens. A lot of new filmmakers and maybe some old collector guys, they get caught up in the lenses. They get caught up in the camera. It's not about this, how you use the camera and how you utilize the lenses. Yes, is there two different types? There might be more than two different types, but the two main types of lenses that people talk about is spherical, anamorphic lens and spherical lens. Spherical lens are because it's a circle, it's a sphere, and you got anatomic. And I want to make sure I'm saying this right. Anatomic lenses. I believe I'm saying that right. Correct me in the comments, like I tell y'all all the time. Correct me in the comments. But anatomical lenses, they're gonna give you more of a wider shot, more depth. And then when you look at the bokehs usually gonna be like a rectangle, like a long, like the lights in the background, the bouquets. I'm gonna put a video up so you guys know what I'm talking about. But the bouquet is gonna be more like a rectangle, square type. It's very indie. Cinematic kind of feeling. A lot of people, it's very romantic type of lens and feel that use anamorphic. That's what it was. Anamorphic. I'm gonna correct myself. Anamorphic lenses. They have more of a romantic type of feel. Very expensive lens. Very beautiful lens. Then you have spherical lens, which is the normal, what mostly everybody's dealing with, and you'll have like circle bouquets on the lighting that'll be behind you if you make a shallow depth of field and have that bokeh effect. Still a great look. It's just a different feel. I think it's more of a practical feel that digital filmmakers have been dealing with. The one thing I'll say about anamorphic lenses, just be prepared to dress your sets more on the edges and the perimeters, because it's going to give you more wider space. That's why you see movies like the Dune and Avatar, big westerns do use those kind of lenses and things of that sort. But again, not kind of get too nerdy and techie into the lens thing. I just want to give you guys some ideas that there is a language with lenses, and we need to use them in order to tell the stories, because folks who possibly have a hearing impairment, but they can see. If you could tell your story through what they could see, you got millions of fans that could do that. And then as well as when you you close your eyes, you should be able to hear the movie and understand where it's going from just hearing it and feeling what that feels like. So use all your senses when you're really developing your movie, when you're watching movies, so you can know what you need to do to make your movie. And I just wanted to talk about lenses because that's how we get our perspective. And everybody's lens is going to be your perspective. It's not going to be someone else's. You're looking through the lens. You have to figure that out. And speaking on that, since it is like Black History Month right now, I'm going to pull up something that we watched this, I believe, in film school back in 2014, Through a Lens Darkly, directed by Thomas Allen, an award-winning film, 2014. It's a documentary, and it's focusing on photography used as a tool by Black photographers, taking images of our life, our culture, our art, our rebellion, our protest, creating like social change and understanding like we are out here, because photography is art. Videography is art as well. And let me tell you why. Because photography is a picture. Videography is a series of pictures moving fast. So 24 frames or 29 frames, that means there's 24 pictures being taken and moving at the same time to make that picture move. So there's an art with it behind it. But then to be able to use it as a tool to create social change, because the camera and the lens and behind with anybody's perspective, this right person's perspective on it, they could capture something that a picture can speak 1,000 words. Yeah, a picture can speak 1,000 words. And then you have Black photographers, Black artists, especially it's talking about the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, even in the 20s, just that power to be able to document something down, that power that Black men and Black women wielded in their hands and through their eyes, and these valuable pictures. I'm going to play the video. I'm going to play a little bit because I don't want to get a copyright ding or anything like that. But if you get a chance, watch Through a Lens Darkly. It was directed by Thomas Allen Harris. And like I said, award-winning documentary. And it was basically about Black photographers. And there's one Black photographer that I want to shout out that took me under his wing when I did photography, sports photography for NASCAR and Pro Early World Challenge. Remember that I was telling you guys about that in my first episode? I got a chance to be one of the few Black photographers that were out there and videographers, because most of them were photographers. A lot of them wasn't doing video. I was doing both at the same time. And there was another gentleman out there, 82 years old at the time. This is back in 2014 to 2018. My seasons were there, like a little bit, 18, maybe even a little longer. Bruce Miller. This guy is the original Black photographer for Trans Am race car track driving, NASCAR, Pirelli. He's the only one out there. 82-year-old still was getting around at the time. And he also, in his pastime, he designs guns and weapons for law enforcement and high elite military teams. So Mr. Bruce Miller put me on one of my first artillery military commercials. I put up a few pictures before. I'll put one up on here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But I want to give a shout out to him because that is a Black man that did this for 40 years. He said, I'm the first Black videographer, photographer he's seen out here. And he said at the time it was like 35 years. So he took me under his wing, and I got to do some shoots with Lamborghini and Trans Am and Chevrolet, whatever, and Cadillac. And so those are two Black photographer, Black History Month. I like to give my shout out and give their flowers out to them.
There are secrets in every family. Sometimes they're buried deeply. And sometimes they're right out there in the open, willfully unseen. There is one place where all the secrets reside. In the family photo album. In what it chooses to represent, and in what is absent, hidden.
As a child at the age of 6, I realized that I am black, and I didn't want to be black.
Every day we're basically told you ain't it, you don't look right.
The cowards,
Shiftless,
laziness,
stupid.
Seemingly never-ending barrage of negative representations wield a certain kind of political force, even though they are fictions.
How is the photograph used in the battle between two legacies, self-affirmation and negation. Our salvation as a people, as a culture, depends on salving the wounds of this war. A war of images within the American family album.
Well, before I transition and go, this segment is really about lenses and angles and perception. And then also we just gave a shout out. But also we got a special guest tonight. We got a special guest that's going to be coming through. You guys know him. Really, really close friend of mine. Really, really close business partner of mine. Really, really close, just all around cool, crazy, always been that kind of guy. And when we come back from this break, from watching this video, I'm going to introduce him and we're going to get this started and we're going to talk about voter suppression and a lot of other things. So yeah, I told you guys, yes, we're going to touch on national politics and local politics a little bit. But this is Filmtrix Politix, the podcast. And you're right here with Kane King II.
Yeah.
Got the size, huh?
Yo, hey, what's up? We're back with Filmtrix Politix. I told you we have a guest tonight, but before that, just talked about Through a Lens Darkly, directed by Thomas Allen Harris. Go check that video out. That was a great video clip that I found there for you. Check that out. Also, go ahead and get updated on your camera angles and tell me about it in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if you want to hear more in depth, because I know that was just a brief little skim over, we could talk about it in the comments and I'll make a whole nother show for you guys and we'll go from there. But without further ado,
Yeah.
I want to introduce someone very, very special, very cool dude. I met years and years ago. I believe close to, I don't even know, a lot of years ago. But this guy special because we are definitely in a brotherhood together, a lifelong pact together. Very talented, very intelligent, very smart. love his mind and his gusto, and he's been there like for every project that I pretty much have put across his desk. We went to California. We've been down to Texas. We've been all the way over to Puerto Rico. To the edge of the oceans together. Doing projects, family things, all kind of stuff. And even this show here, Filmtrix Politix. And I want to introduce him because not only is he just doing Filmtrix and Politics, and y'all heard him on a couple of the shows behind the scenes talking, Atum Ra, but at the same time, this guy is also acting in Hewwood as Ace Phoenix, doing great stuff in the first chapter, definitely in chapter 2. You're going to see a lot more of him. That's going to be coming out really soon. We're going to talk about some of that tonight as well. This is just going to be...
We got to build on that.
This is just going to be an open conversation because I told you guys, I'm doing something different with this show. We're just really chilling out, taking our time, fleshing it out. If we're making any mistakes or making some good stuff, put it in the comments. We're going to talk about it. But really, though, Melanated and Illuminated, one of his companies that he's running here.
Yeah, buddy.
He's already coming from the podcast radio world as well. Love his local and national political mind and ideas that he has. Definitely proud of Pan-Africanism, FBA, all of those things, and working with so many different community programs and activists right here locally in Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas native as well.
Hey,
I mean, this guy's damn near royalty, you know what I mean? Well, without further ado, this is my guy, Atum Ra. Put your hands together, baby. Put your hands together.
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad to be here. Well, I'm always here, so, you know, I get to hop in front of the camera, just like I did in Hewwood, you know what I'm saying? I do, anybody that don't know me, you know what I'm saying? I'm always working behind the scenes, but every now and then, you know, I like to sneak in front.
But this is making this official, you know, like...
Yeah.
I told you about this.
He made me do it. He made me do it.
He made me... No, we were part of the crime on this one. We're going down together on this one, man. Man, I presented the idea about it like a year ago about doing this. And then got on the podcast. And so, look, here you are.
Hey, man, I appreciate the intro, man. Look, see, man, I think that's the nicest thing you said about me in a long time. So,
man, I know. It felt weird saying that, yo, ugly ass. I really didn't want to say nothing nice.
We're going to make sure we clip this up. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't want to say nothing nice, really, for real, but I had to.
I'm going to make that my ringtone.
So the audience can be like, okay, who is this guy? Why is he interviewing him? So, tell us about Melanated and Illuminated. Tell us about, give us a rundown on
so,
that, man.
Melanated and Illuminated started years ago, working on the website, getting it back up right now. But, I mean, essentially when I started it, you know, whether it was music, film, podcasts, like I've always saw myself or what I want to do as an entity. So like even like when we started rapping back in the day with the mic over the ceiling, you know, like I started in my head like, oh, we need a record label. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just rapping. Then it's like, oh, okay, we need a record label. Oh shit, we need a radio station so that the music can go to. And so
do you feel like you've always been like the business minded one out of the group? Like you know. Yeah, I've always kind of had, you know, that's what I think about like Baby and Slim, Master P. You know, I was the one, back in the day, you know, burning the CDs, you know, making the covers, you know, going out and passing them out. Inserts for the jewel cases.
Absolutely. And, you know, like I said, I always just thought like, you know, distribution networks and more so, you know, not just for myself, but, you know, how to set up an umbrella for people with various talents to be able to come and, you know, utilize the foundation I may have laid to, you know, do whatever they want to do as well. You know, I never saw myself as like one to like sign people and hold people. You know, I always wanted people to like create their own entity as well and like move on because, you know, my mind be on 8 different things as well. Yeah. But yeah.
So you're like a fire starter. You know, start the fire and hope somebody can take that energy and contain and go where they need to go.
Absolutely. And even like with when I started Melanated Illuminated, that was back. It's funny to think about like podcasting because I remember back in like 2003. Back when I was in like the recording and going to studios and stuff like that, and like after the recording sessions, we're in this studio, and then we would just have the mics going, and so then we would be recording the talks after the sessions because it'd be all these different people, and so it wasn't called podcasting at the time, but that's how we were doing it, and so then just lead forward to the bounds of what's been going on with technology. And so, when I was, probably heavy on the podcast back in, 2012, 14, 15, I always had to like build a website, build a platform. Yeah. And so I saw so many of my peers that like had content, but, it was nowhere else to put it. And I was always thinking of like, for me, I'm an habitual line stepper. So I know I'm across the lines. So it's like, what entity can I set up outside of like when I get that ban, when I get that suspension or whatever the case may be. And so Melanated Illuminated was kind of that place for, myself, not only my sandbox to get out there and say what I want to say and what I want to do, but, also for everybody else, to come back, be, pro you. And hey, man, me as the entity and the boss, like I'm not gonna cancel you, like, for free.
So when I got a chance to like really see you at work first time, meet you was at the radio stuff. Like, tell us about that time and like what was that? What was that? A1?
Action One Media. Action One Media, A1 Media, man. Shout out to Joy. Joy is so awesome, man. Joy, RJ, J Nicole. Man, like, and so like even when we started doing Action One, that was me linking up with Joy and J Nicole, and that was when we initially started it. It was a place for independent creators, and so we started with focusing on independent artists. We had the app with the music, and so trying to get people to listen to the independent artist music. And so then we transitioned from just doing the music to moving into doing the podcasting. And one of the main things for the show and the podcast was highlighting individuals within our community that like not only are talented, but, also like good human beings. Many of the independent artists we brought through to showcase their music, like all these people still had charities and other stuff like that they were doing as well. And so, to be able to like have a platform and be able to showcase that. And so then, that's how you came across my board.
Which I think we got like a video clip of the A1.
Yeah.
We're gonna go check that out right now real quick. Check this video out.
Being able to shoot, a lot of different types of scenes and things like that. What is it really about filmmaking that really kind of sticks to you, man?
And because there was a lot of people offering like waiting table jobs and stuff, and I've done that before. I already did that.
Right.
And so I really wanted to hone in on my craft. I really was putting.
Yeah. So that was a blast from the past for you right there, huh?
Absolutely. And so, like what I was mentioning, you kind of embodied like one of the, the people that we were interviewing because, how I was first introduced to you was obviously through Mama D.
Mama D, shout out to Mama D.
Mom, my mom is everybody's mom. But, one of the reasons why she was so high on you was because of the work that you were doing with those kids in Fifth Ward in the community. And so then, it's like, okay, he doing some good work. And then I find out, oh, man, this dude is an awesome filmmaker. And then not only is he an awesome filmmaker, he makes music as well.
Thank you.
So then it's like, oh, shit, I think when you came through, you remember I pulled it up and played it, you did.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, because that's the, I'm saying, the spirit of Houston, the spirit of independent artistry. Yeah, and so like for me, like those are the people that You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was so happy when you came through. And then, we couldn't get rid of each other since then.
Yeah.
What should I say? He couldn't get rid of me.
I couldn't.
Then,
This nigga couldn't get rid of me.
Yeah,
Nah, it was vice versa. Like, no, as soon as I met you, like, Mama D told me about she took no for an answer. She wasn't taking no for an answer. Working over at the center over in 5th Ward, and just helping those kids just learn film. And then she was talking about robotics. Shout out to Mama D. Glad that she introduced us, and also shout out to Shayla Young. Shout out to Chris Hurst. Shout out to them. Was it Hot Dogs? Yo Dogs.
Man. Dark Light Studios.
Dark Light Studios. Grind Zoo Media. Forever Young Photography. Is that right? Grind Zoo. So we all came together as a. Right. It's Shern.
Yeah, brother. Man, but out there building the flying car, man.
Exactly.
Even tall. So man, we got all of this, man.
We got all of this, yeah.
We definitely got to have him on, man.
Teaching pot. Oh yeah, we gotta get him on. We do. Shern, that's where you at, Shern. If you see this, we gotta get you.
And so man, it's no coincidence, like from Melanated and Illuminated, you know what I'm saying, that like we here with Filmtrix Politix, because like to me, like this is just like the next iteration of what I wanted to do, what you wanted to do, you know what I'm saying, how we're taking the podcast and the film and we're taking it to new heights.
Yeah, that's where it's at. That's why I'm saying this is just a different beat, a path, a different way of seeing world. That's why we named this episode Perspectives. And also like the companies, the mentalities combining is understanding what social change really looks like. Sure. What social change really is. It's not overnight. It's not crazy protest going out of whack. We're not gonna go there yet, but just saying we found a like-mindedness in the business. And yeah, there's bumps along the way, there's different things, space that you have. And I'm speaking like this because I know there's a lot of guys or women too that are watching this that are in brotherhoods, sisterhoods. You're in group chats. You're working with those people, and there's a selective few that you feel like somebody's not pulling their weight. Somebody's not making the phone calls. Somebody's not making the ecosystem that you created move the way it needs to move. Like, liking and sharing and commenting and all of those kind of things that you create within the ecosystem of the people you're working with when you're collaborating. It doesn't mean you have to have the same like-mindedness. Doesn't mean that my goal has to be your goal and my destination has to be your destination. It just means that we both have a like-minded to say we're enjoying our journey. And I would like you to see where I'm at in my journey right now and see if there's anything that you can help. Just like Rock says at my mama's house, he says, hey, if you're not useful, you're useless. If I can't use you, you're useless. I get it. It's like we're supposed to be put to use. We're supposed to be put to use.
Hey man, big shout out to y'all over at my mama's house, man.
Big shout out.
I see the work, man. It's looking beautiful, man. And like I said, it's on that the train is rolling, man. So like, man, y'all better get on board now, man, because it's going up. You know what I'm saying? So like, man, don't be trying to say boys is acting funny.
Hey, y'all hearing it. You know what I'm saying? So, But yeah, so we here, man. This is a part of the show. Like Atum, he's a part of the show. He's definitely a producer of the show. He's definitely a crew behind the show. He's definitely a mentor, inspiration behind the show. Definitely high executive staff with BLKJAG Films as well, BLKJAGtv as well. So we are here, and this portion of the show is like we're gonna have an open discussion. We're gonna
get your jaws tight.
Yeah, we're gonna build this out. We're filling it out. We're gonna build it out, and we're basically. I keep looking at this camera, thinking it's the camera. We're over here. I'm sorry, guys. I've been neglecting y'all over there. I got a camera over here, so I'm trying to make sure I'm looking right. But this part of the section of the show is supposed to be like a panel where we have open discussion, talk about topics. About questions, and we just talk about them, and we're gonna just bring things up and just go back and forth and just see what happens. So buckle your seatbelts, get ready, and Filmtrix Politix. Thanks for joining us tonight. So, man, a lot of stuff been going on. We're gonna switch gears. Like I said, we're gonna talk about a little bit of politics, man.
For sure.
Shut your politics, baby. You know what I'm saying? So this goes along because I know I don't know if we got, like I said, we got a lot of stuff we're gonna be covering tonight.
First of all, yeah. Before we start that, well, you've been tearing them internet streets up.
Oh,
you been tearing them streets up, man.
Been in them, man.
Every time. But hey, man, like
I got tossed around in the alley today, this morning.
Man. But the truth is the truth, and like I think that like one of the main things that like we as a people got to realize right now is there's nothing wrong with differences of opinions, because like at the end of the day, like we are still like all on the same side. And we talk all the time about like all these different ideas on various ends of the spectrum, and we gotta allow ourselves time to space, like you said, flush out those ideas, and also realize sometimes a person may be working through a phase. Yeah. And so then, once you like ostracize that person because they're going through that phase, like they may not come back.
Yeah.
And, I think that like some of the like discourse I've been seeing within our community has been like crazy amongst, family and friends, obviously the whole like Trump and politics and everything like that. And
there's definitely a polarization. There's definitely a picking of sides. There's definitely like this like you got to pick a side. You can't talk about it and stuff like that. And so
and remember, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like I get choosing a side, but it's like, man, anybody that pay attention to polls and voting numbers and things like that, you can see some of these counties all over the country, that voted for like Obama and voted for Trump. Some of them that voted for Trump in 2016 and Biden in 2020 and back to Trump. And so, like for me, this is interesting watching those flips and those perspectives, and then watching kind of on the other side to where it's like people aren't allowed to change. And it's like, hey, these people change their minds all the time.
Yeah. We seeing that, and it's crazy. So with you saying that, like, how are you feeling about, or how have you been feeling or seeing the Jasmine Crockett and James Talarico case, where we are right now? I dare to bring up the Amanda Edwards, Christian Menefee situation. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah.
I mean, first of all, like, I want to know, like, why isn't Al Green running for Senate?
Why is he or isn't?
Isn't.
Why he isn't?
Why he hadn't run for Senate?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh yeah, I just been thinking that. You know what I'm saying? Like all these years,
Why,
see him going, and then like at this time with his district being, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
But I just think I think this is like an interesting, like I ain't really heard nothing on it, and you would think that he would have enough cachet, but he not. So like, man, on the Jasmine and Talarico situation, it's interesting because it's putting Democrats on two sides of the fence.
Yes.
And so
absolutely.
Like for me, like I said, putting both of them aside, I'm always looking at the numbers and things like that. And when you look at the last few runs from Allred and Beto and whatever, like the numbers didn't look like they were there. And so, I'm not sure. They're saying it's the candidate.
For Talarico, or you said for Jasmine? Or just
for Democrats.
A Democrat, period.
A Democrat, period. Going up against, as much as we don't like Greg Abbott, Ted Cruz, we talk about these different things.
Even though Texas is known to have a majority minority.
Correct.
In the voter base.
Correct.
The voter base.
But then also we gotta talk about also how in Texas it's only the minority of the population voting, period. looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we see 20, 30% turnout in some of these off-year elections. So, you know, that's another thing in itself. So for me, like I said, with the Democrats in Texas, like I'm interested overall, regardless of who wins, because like it was the same question with Allred. Like, okay, like once you get behind a candidate, like where are the votes at outside of Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and Austin? You know, like we know that they're votes there.
Do you? This is a yes or no question. Do you agree or don't agree with James Tallarico saying that Allred is a mediocre black man?
Well, so I mean, we don't know whether he said it or not. But if he did say it, like, yeah, that is wild. That is wild. You know that? Like, I feel like I feel like Dave Chappelle. Like that sounds like something I would say. You know that?
Hell yeah.
Because kind of had a point. But I mean, still though, like if he said it, yeah, like that's out of line.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, but that's still, it's still though, like out of line. Like he could say he a mediocre candidate, a mediocre Democrat.
He could have said that.
A mediocre black man.
I think he was trying to make some stuff rhyme.
That's wild.
Black.
But I mean, they got.
He did say beautiful black woman, beautiful smart black woman.
Right, but did they actually got him saying that about Allred? Because I just heard about it.
It was a hearsay.
I just heard about it because like even like I said like.
But he kind of.
I ain't shooting the white boy no bail, but just saying though, like mediocre black man sound weird anyway. That's weird.
You can't say that as a white boy.
Yeah, but I mean, it just
you don't want to be.
No, it just sounds weird as an insult. Like mediocre black man. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say it sounds like some
he should have been careful.
Shit. You
He
know
should have
what
careful with his words. Yeah,
but like if he did say it, like that's out of pocket. Like you got a mediocre black man. Like what are you talking about? Like,
so.
Like what the hell?
So speaking on that, like we kind of touched on it. You know. Let's go into our first question.
Oh yeah, but yeah, you was asking on the Crockett and Tallarico. So like I said, like it's interesting to see like the split in the party to where it's like Tallarico is probably more of the conservative looking Democrat that probably could draw more independent voters, but Crockett is the candidate that could probably get more people excited about the election.
Right.
So, but at the end of the day, with either one of them, like as a Texan, and anybody know shit about Texans, we love Texas.
Yeah.
Regardless of black, white, like Texas or Texas about Texas. So it's interesting to kind of hear both of them talk about fighting Trump more than they're talking about what they're gonna do for Texas.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm.
They all of them.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this guy's on his last 2.5 years, year and a half. He's on. That's it. He ain't got nothing else to do. Yeah. We get you want to fight the spirit that's been brought about of what that, but we think the ethers of that is going to go away when this dude goes away. We do, but at the same time, it's like you're causing this mini civil war of the other civil wars going on in the Democratic Party. And then as well as kind of labeling this guy as a racist. Low key, kind of labeling as a racist. Like, I don't really want to think of him like that because I don't think that's
Trump?
No, I'm talking about James Tallarico.
Oh yeah.
You know,
that's what I say. That's what I'm saying. Like it was.
What are we doing here?
It was interesting that it came out. Like, oh, okay, here we go with that.
But I thought about it too. I was like, but you guys want to dance on identity politics. But then when identity politics come back and bite you in the ass and calls you a mediocre black guy, when your campaign is mediocre, it was mediocre.
It was mediocre.
It already was, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Look, you're going down that Hakeem Jeffries team Obama. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. So we got to get some backbone or something. But at the same time, so we got like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries I just mentioned. These are like kind of the Democratic leaders right now. It's weird. It's weird. We're in a weird armpit right now. It's like an armpit of leaders. But I bring them up because these guys are still, I feel, a representation of the oligarchy, establishment, democratic situation that we're trying to eradicate. And I believe the far, 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 far left has taken over the Democratic faction. I do. I believe it has like the ideology, and I believe that it's being used because it's being used as a weapon. I feel that's why I say I feel like it's being used as a weapon. But I'm leading into something saying like, and now you got the middleman Stephen A. Smith.
Screaming A.
screaming A. Smith. He's sitting. I don't know what to say, but Stephen A. Smith. He's sitting here trying to take the middle ground and show who's right, who's wrong. But he still lands on the island of voter suppression. Let that sink in a little bit.
Suppress the vote.
Boom, boom, boom. Voter suppression. Voter suppression. Not only is I don't want to put this on Stephen A. He's getting it from the leaders, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. This is what they're saying. People can't get birth certificates. People were born before birth certificates were alive, so they can't get the ID. Don't want to do the Nationalizing Act. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Voter suppression. Voter suppression. Tell me what do you think about it? What you feel? Just and I'll chime in on my. I want to hear your view. Yeah.
I had to hit black on this one.
Yeah, man. Look, guys, we're taking a deep dive. We're taking a deep dive on conversations that we all are having, but you may be having them with one or two people, with the trusted folks that you could talk about. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to you guys, too, that went out there and voted for Trump, but you usually with Democrat. I'm talking to you that went out there and voted for Kamala, even though you told your homeboys you're going to vote for Trump. I'm talking to all of y'all, you know what I'm saying? We put the shields down, put the gang colors down tonight. Tonight, we having a discussion amongst men and women, Think of Conan Barbarian days. We're just sitting around. I'm passing around a rib of meat for you to eat.
Right.
If you're vegan, I'm giving you a leaf for you to eat. And we're talking. But yeah, voter suppression,
so man, I want to take two different avenues on the voter suppression. The first avenue I want to take is, saying not to have on my tinfoil hat too much,
tinfoil, baby.
Like we're all tinfoil. We're all suppressed when it comes to voting. From the perspective of a lot of us deal or depend on the media and these sources to give us information and rile us up about the various elections. And I think that's one of the reasons why consistently on the off-year elections there's a low turnout because they aren't running all the ads and all those things like they do in the presidential year. So that's one thing. I noticed there's a lot more media-driven attention to get people informed about voting on presidential years versus in off-year voting cycles. We have voting cycles consistently outside of just voting for the president, but that's kind of the one that they pound home.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the mental suppression for majority of the voters, that exist out there that call themselves fighting for one side or the other.
So basically, you're saying just to, so we could keep with our audience, keep up with it, but basically just saying we're getting designed, filtered information, and so we're being suppressed by not getting the unfiltered raw information to be able to make your own cognitive decision on what's really happening around you.
For sure. And not only with the candidates, just when to vote, what's going on, and all those different things. So on the...
Right, okay.
Yeah,
so you're talking, PSAs
correct.
Of saying,
Correct.
hey, because it's voting time in about 21 days. This is where you
early
go
voting.
Go to this, check out who it is. Matter of fact, let's just make a commercial. This is who's running for this, who's doing it.
Correct.
Things of that sort. It seems like that should be.
Correct. And I've always said, to me, I think that's one of the strategies that Republicans have enacted in Texas, and typically having these senators and governors races in the off-year elections, and so low turnout. Hey,
yeah,
they win every time by a margin. Like I said, everybody got all these gripes with Greg Abbott and all these other people, but every time you turn around, boom, 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 boom. And so that's one part of it. And so like, man, I think the other part about it, man, is sometimes I do get like sick and tired of the voter suppression conversation. Only reason because I feel that like it's what a lot of candidates are using to fundraise. And you know, for me, I think a bigger issue than voter suppression, because I think that obviously this is a chess game, so both sides are playing games with the voting. Like, yes, I would not deny. I'd be crazy to say that like they not trying to play games either side, whether it's through the redistricting and gerrymandering, which you know what I'm saying, like we'll talk about another time. But I mean, that's why a lot of this stuff is set up the way it's set it, because they redraw the districts, and so you know when they redraw the districts. To me, when you talking about voter suppression, oh man, it's like you're too late. They're already, you know what I'm saying, drawing it up like how they need it. But even beyond that, one thing that I wish both of the, well, particularly the Democrats, because that's what we talk about, because that's what we always talk about voter suppression. Even though, like I said, this is open. Even though the Republicans be lying, like they not playing games as well. Yeah. So like that's where they be like, okay, like people think that like people like us when we saying something, it's like, oh yeah, you defending them, and it's like, nah, like I know they devils and playing games as well, but it's just like not this. Mm-hmm. So to me, what I really was trying to get to is, I wish that the Democrats would address why more registered voters are not voting versus trying to find this imaginary people that have never voted and don't vote or whatever the case may be. So I think that voter suppression is kind of like chasing this ghost that don't exist for this population that's out there that's never voted or whatever the case may be, versus all those people that are registered that sit home.
That's where the rubber meets the road for me. What you just said right there. Yeah, man. The imaginary voters that they're looking for. Yeah. Because I sat and did the numbers. The numbers feel like it can't lie. I feel like it's definitely a question there of like, just the rundown. 49 million blacks. 33 million registered voters. Black. People who went to census and signed it in black. That's fucking amazing. That's awesome. That's a lot. 33. Out of that, 11% will make it to the polls to go vote. That's 3 million some odd people. So that leaves 33 million, 49 million subtract. That's 16 million people that are unregistered, unvoted, can't vote, never registered, don't even nothing. There's 30 million that are still registered that no one try to rallies up, because we're not saying there's 3 million that the 3 million registered that will go vote. We're not saying those are 3 million Democratic voters. Those are 3 million voters. So those are independents. Those are couch voters. Those are down the ballot voters. Those are Democratic voters and Republican voters, all wrapped in that 3 little million. We have won little battles with that 3 million situation. We have won. So just imagine if the Democratic Party took time to rally and galvanize that 30 million that is registered, because they already took the first step. They don't have to worry about the ID and shit. They already are there. Then just rallying that, I feel like, and I'll land my plane here in a second. Just rallying, I feel like that will spark something in the 16 million, because in that 16 million, some of those are probably underage people. Those are people incarcerated, maybe the elderly, and those kind of things of that sort. But at the same time, why are we, why is it they're rallying that? Because that seems like, again, it goes along with the doctrine of they will focus on everything else but us. And why won't they focus on us? And it keeps going back to, what is this political? Is this racial? Is it they want to perpetually keep us in one spot? When I say us, we're talking about the black population, because I'm not referring that I'm a Democrat or any of that stuff. I'm just more referring to, like, I'm black first. I'm black, part of the black population.
For sure. All day, every day, man.
Yeah. So I mean, what's the deal?
Oh man.
I mean, you know, we're just speculating here. Nothing is, you know, it's you find your own truth, your own perspective. We're speculating here.
Yeah, man. I think as far as it relates to that, hold on, ask it again.
So 30 million, got 30 million registered voters that's sitting there.
That's what it is. So I think that like even earlier when you were speaking about like identity politics, I think like the people that's in Washington now are slaves to corporations. And I think the identity politics and all that stuff is just like a ruse to where like white people ain't voting either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even like, you know, with this whole like Trump stuff, like, man, it showed like, man, they willing to cut off their people too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so like for us, you know, like, you know, we stay so fractured on all of these different like minute topics that like we don't really have any candidates, I feel, that are like really out there that are, you know what I'm saying, like speaking for us.
No.
And then like even like
no, we don't.
And then we got some of them that are speaking for us, but like what are they really bringing back home to their communities, to, you know what I'm saying,
Dude,
and
they're
better
making
the lives of the people.
They're making money hand over fist. They're going in with you know, 5-figure salaries and coming out with millions of things and sort like that.
Yeah, I think that but
on both sides.
No, for sure. But I think that's one of the reasons why people are sitting at home.
Yeah.
Because they know that, like, hey, man, it's all about lobbying and corporatism and everything like that.
You're not interested in the people.
Right. And then, you know, like I said, they hop out there and, you know, like I said, these games and things like that. And, you know, man, like I said, like, you know, I watched the whole spectrum. And so, like, you know, I don't believe that, you know, in 2026, 2028, you know, like all those people that voted for Trump or, you know what I'm saying, was MAGA going to vote Republican again.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's gonna be funny because we're about to have an identity politics funny where it's gonna be Wesley Hunt, you know, Tim Scott, Byron Donaldson.
And they black.
And they black. And they ain't got no bad records. They you know, they're not. I don't feel like they're. So we are back and check it out. I'm knocking stuff over. This is Filmtrix Politix. We are in the studio, in the lab. We call it the tree house. We up here doing our thing with Atum. Cooking right now. We've been talking about voter suppression. We've been talking about the Democrats. We've been talking about the Republicans. We've been talking about what do these parties need to do to change, because we just want to talk about it, because I'm not sure what you guys are talking about, but this is how you start delineating, discerning, talking, just really figuring out where you are, where we at.
Yeah, man, we got to build the conversations, man. And, you know, like, man, for me, man, as a person that, like, I'm a person that vote. You know, man, like, I voted everything. I voted primaries, off your elections. I'm an overvote. I vote in everything. But at the same time, you know, for me, like, that have a conversation with a lot of different people, like, I do get why people don't vote. And, like, I don't, like, chastise them.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, like, I've come from the school of Malcolm, you know what I'm saying, that say, if nobody talking to you, like, you do have the power to sit on your vote.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an option as well.
That's part of the power.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I don't, because, like, I get it. You know what I'm saying?
That's part of the power, because the voter, the vote the couch, that wasn't a joke. That wasn't a derogatory term. It was like, that's part of your power, because, like he said, you didn't have a power or entity talking to you, talking for you. And we got to a point to where 60, 45 years, whatever number you want to pick, it's definitely a couple of decades of being ignored and looked over. And still right now we're seeing the play of voter suppression being used as saying, this is what we do, this is what we did for you black folks, is we fought for your voter rights. We fought for your voter suppression. When it's already there, like, go get, everything we can go do. And whoever isn't there, and the people we have registered, we have enough right now for us to make a change to just galvanize those registered. Even if it takes 10 years to get at least 50% of those registered to get to the polls, it changes everything. Republicans know that. Democrats know that. White liberals and white conservatives know that.
Right. But yeah, man, and
But
overall,
we don't.
right. But
We don't.
overall, man, we got to get more educated on the process because, for me as a person, like I said, that votes and everything, like I realize how the elections are won in the primaries and how even a lot of people that I know that are like
Yes.
these so-called like well-informed voters and some of my older people, you know what I'm saying, that I know that talk a lot about younger people voting, a lot of them don't talk about the primaries. They keep talking about the general, but you know what I'm saying? Like we know that that's where the politics are played.
That's the
in
politics.
the primaries.
Yeah, that's
And
the
so,
sexy conversations. That's the politics.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I love that you said that.
Yeah, and so I think that as much as we try to beat people over the head with voting, we need to give them more tools to understand what's going on. And just like we're doing here, like I've encouraged more people to vote through just conversations than talking about, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, your ancestors died for your right to vote, and why you doing that? Like, come on, man, you mother whoop whoop. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta talk and understand like what's going on, like why they didn't vote. And a lot of times it's because the candidates ain't speaking to them, but that's because they didn't know that one of the candidates that may be speaking to them was in the primary, but got pushed out. And you see what you see on the ballot in November, and that's all you got. And that's when we show up and we're like, oh, we got to choose between the lesser two evils and all this other.
Yeah, we can't keep expecting that somebody's gonna pick the right person, and by the time it's time for you to go choose, that it's gonna be the right person for choose. Like, no, we hand picking these people. We should be hand delivering them to the campaigns and walking them all the way through, knowing who it is. Regardless of what's going on, you know what I'm saying? We got to get behind people like Amanda Edwards. We got to get behind people like Christian Menifee. You know what I'm saying? We got to get that kind of going. It's not that we have vitriol against, Mr. Al Green.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
The
None of
legend.
that. It's a
The
legend. It's just more so like, I think it's time to be a mentor now. I think it's time to get some younger bloods in there. But the young bloods have to take on a backbone as well and not try to take on the strength of the older generation only, but have your own backbone for what's going on right now. Because Trump, y'all could keep saying you're gonna fight Trump. Trump ain't gonna be in office in 2028. He's not in 2029 or 20. He's not. That's not the threat. The threat is the fact that you can't give a straight answer to why your Democratic Party will not talk to its biggest island of all the islands. Whenever you guys want to come and hang out in the island, the barbecue, you want to come to the barbecue. You want to go to the concerts, you want to go to the concert. You want to go to the Super Bowls and the Super Bowl party, you want to do all that. You want to wear the clothes, you want to crip walk, all that stuff. But when it comes to really looking at the infrastructure of that big-ass island called black man and black woman of the Democratic Party, it's overlooked. Like right now. We're halfway through the shortest fucking month, Black History Month, and majority of the conversations when we put it in this website, the majority of conversations going on from Democratic side, liberal leaning, is about the damn immigrants. It's about the immigrants. It's not about foundational Black Americans. It's not about us. And so I bring it up as a segue for the next question, and we're gonna go into it a little bit here, but again, I want to show a video that's kind of touching on what I'm talking about. Is that time and time again we're looking at the numbers. That's 30 million people that are registered voters. Why aren't you Black Democrats, the Black Caucus, focused on that? That could be started in the high schools, the colleges. That could be part of the questionnaires of like, hey, are you a registered voter? Are you a registered voter? You are? Hey, why? When's the last time you voted? What's wrong? When have you voted? What's going on? Do you know that it's easier to vote at the local vote? Did you know it's easier to figure out what's going on? Anything to encourage it. But when you don't, just like on Count of Monte Cristo, in their neglect, we find our path. Because you're neglecting, now we know, okay, you're neglecting that. That means that you're holding something back from us. It's time for us to like really start thinking and getting into it. But my question to tag into is like, why, or do you, not why, do you feel that the Democratic Party needs to focus on foundational Black Americans? And why?
So, I'm going to say no. Because, you know, it's saying in the words of the great Claude Anderson, we are finished. We are finished.
Damn. Done?
We are finished. Like,
Damn.
man, like the
shots fired.
The Democratic Party like nigga energy. They don't like niggas. So, as far as, you know, like you look at the emerging Hispanic population.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the independent white vote that is, you know what I'm saying, shifting around. Yeah, I think that it's clear that they do understand that obviously like our elders and, you know what I'm saying, church going people, you know what I'm saying, like they still are like voters, you know what I mean? Because like typically, you know, older age people on both sides are voters, and so, you know, they do still do things to speak to them. But as far as you know, young Black men and women, it doesn't seem to be any agenda period for addressing you know, a lot of the things that's been going on in our communities, whether it's gentrification, whether it's cancer clusters, whether it's you know, what's going on within the K through 12 education. And so, like, to me, this has been, like, proven over and over again. And so, you know, coming up in, you know, I could see them, you know, trying to, you know, tout the Black candidate again. But, I mean, you know, we just got to be real. Like, even with the Black candidates that we've had, like, what have they stood on that was Black?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I ain't going to do nothing just for Black folks, is what she said, right? Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Obama, he, you know, they say he went after help the gays, and help the Black. But hey, we'll talk about this in a whole nother show, whole nother motherfucking show.
But yeah, nah. I mean, I honestly think they don't. Like,
for Black folks, foundation Black America, we have no chance.
Yeah, like I mean, like the right answer is they should and they need to, but like, do they really have to and still be able to? You know what I'm saying, win. And so, you know, that's kind of one of the, I guess I call it an issue per se with the Crockett campaign. Like, I appreciate that she is trying to keep it authentic with us. But, you know what I'm saying, like, she does have to reach a broader audience. Yeah. But then, you know what I'm saying, even in the talk for us, I mean, I don't know what's in the deal for us.
I think what I'm trying to get at is that when I think about us as foundational Black Americans, I'm thinking about all ages groups, the old, young, and all that. And I'm thinking about the kitchen table. When we're at the kitchen table talking. Kitchen table is... Grandma got diabetes, and she needs this kind of care. Uncle Ray drank a little bit too much, too long. Needs some help. So we're talking about health care. We're talking about the whole nation needs free health care. We need, you know, nationwide free health. So I'm just saying, like, I feel like there's some kitchen table issues that Black folks really, really could benefit off of that we talk about that could benefit the rest of the country. And I think that's why I say,
of course,
that's what I'm saying. Like, do the Democratic Party see those things? And that's what I'm saying.
No, I think they do. I think they do see like those, but I think that, you know, that still kind of ties in line with those issues that's going to affect essentially the boomers. But like, what's the plan for the YNs? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. All that healthcare stuff is good for the nation. And I think that is where they're going to go and where they're going to talk about. But what about, like, our next generation of leaders that are consistently reading on lower grade levels?
That's why I feel like the job infrastructure has to come in.
And getting further and further left behind.
That infrastructure has to come in. Of course, with, we're kind of cooked. I think I said it on a couple other segments. It's like, we got to focus on the third graders, of course. But I think third graders, when we focus on that, third grade and up, is really bringing in working real industries into these schools. Like some do, but some sort of like apprenticeship type of thing with a certain community for sure. And not only like creating jobs, but creating mentorships that can create CEOs, administrators that can run like urban farms or farming and going to the grocery stores to end a food desert in a impoverished type of areas type of thing, creating voting or civic stuff so that way maybe there is some sort of money incentive behind civic duty type of things, you know what I'm saying? So that way we can get a sector or demographic of our people. Because right now, like I don't want to feel like just because we talk about black people or foundational black Americans that we got to talk about everybody, because we don't. Because right now, this is Filmtrix Politix. We right here, and we could talk about we could just focus on black folks and not have to have the stigma or the shame or guilt that we're leaving anyone out.
I don't feel
because I don't want to leave anyone out. I don't want to feel like I got to double talk and say, hey, they did too. I just want to say, this is what I feel. The Democratic store, I'm looking at it like Target. And I'm looking at it like black folks. Maybe that's the wrong store to use.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it like, going to Dollar General. Damn, that's even worse. Fuck. God damn. Look, we're going into a damn store, and that store is called Democratic Party. And black folks are going in there. I just feel like we need to come out with some tangible thing. So that's what I feel like it needs to happen. That's what I'm talking about.
No, man. And so that's what, like I said, I think that like the plan and what people like us, and I know that there's plenty of politically conscious people out there. Like we have to get back to thinking about the next generation, and like I said, holding our leaders accountable for that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, what are they gonna do to build up and address? Because like I said, there's all these surveys and things like that out, or all these kids that are on that are in 7th, 8th grade but still reading on 4th grade level.
Yeah.
Man. And so for me, that's like the crisis in Black America.
Yeah,
Joey.
Shout out to Joey Pins. He was on the last episode.
Yeah, man,
he killed it. Shout out to him. He said we need to have a reading revolution. Mm-hmm. This is just like we did out of slavery or right before slavery at a reading revolution. We need to have a reading revolution. The reading revolution was we were teaching each other. Yeah. We were teaching each other how to read, write, and how to sound and how to talk. That meant we must have been at home. We must have been in the churches. We must have been in these back rooms. We must have been in the sheds, whatever, talking. That means we need to read to our kids. We need to read to our kids. The kids need to read to us so we can hear them read. Because that's one of the main things. You hear your kid read, you can help them. And then it also helps them to have more confidence when they read out loud. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
That's the fastest way.
Absolutely. So yeah, man, I think that there are a lot of things that will be on the table for us. But I mean, I think that we still haven't found our way in this new age of politics, because overall, you know what I'm saying, we're still getting caught up in the mediocre battles of the middle instead of really talking about, and like I said, holding our local people feet to the fire about what's going on within our communities. And like I said, I get what's going on nationally, and that does matter. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the problems that people all over the country have is due to local politics, i.e. the District 18, and how there's been this shift of not being able to keep a candidate and different games being played like that. That is hurting the 18th.
That is just crazy, ain't it?
You know what I'm saying? And so overall, it's these type of things that I think that, in 2026 and 2028, we need to focus on, you know what I'm saying, putting it, just kind of putting a lid on it, man.
Well, let's back it up right there, because I've been looking at a lot of stuff online, and I've seen the articles and read them, but I don't think I've heard anybody really talk about like the debacle fiasco that's kind of going on right now. Like, you know, with the Christian Menifee, Amanda Edwards, Mr. Al Green. What's the way how should I address him? It's Al Green, right?
Yeah, Al Green.
Mr. Al Green. You know.
Love and happiness.
Oh man.
Well, that's a purr too, man. That was slick.
Yeah, but we called this in September. We called it. We saw it. We saw it, and now here we are. What we called is you know, Menifee and Amanda Edwards ended up in a runoff. We called this before the runoff. They ended up in a runoff, which means that neither one of them had got 50% of the vote. So we have to go to a runoff. They went to a runoff in January.
Correct.
The January runoff led to where I think Christian Menifee won the seat.
Correct.
All of a sudden,
correct.
Here comes Al Green.
Yeah, from the Raptors. Because mind you, the bullshit with this seat period was that whoever won the election between Amanda and Christian, that term was only for 2026 because then there's the election that was coming up. So like I said, by them having that runoff, push it back even further. So then now technically, like with the primary should have started next month.
Yeah.
You're not even in the seat. But yeah, you know, I think Al Green was, you know, looking around to see how the whole redistricting was going to play out. You know, once again, it's like, why aren't we asking Democrats, why didn't they push Al Green to go for Senate? You know, I think that's a valid question.
That is a valid question.
And so, like, this has been a problem, you know, not only in the Democratic Party, but, you know, within the black community. This is one of the reasons why you look at a corner and you see 4 churches, because the pastor wanted to stay and this dude wanted to be pastor, but he couldn't, so he went across the street and made a church. And, you know, like the leadership wants to hold on and stay there forever when there's so many other things that they can give to the party, the candidates, from behind the scenes mentoring, or even, like I said, running for higher offices. I think it's kind of a shame every time that we see this happen, not only just with Al Green, but period.
We gotta shake some stuff up, man. We gotta shake. This is
anytime we have a chance to reach that crossroads, which we are. We at that chance.
We at the chance,
and then now here we go, going backwards again. You know what I'm saying? And there's no.
What's the problem with Amanda Edwards? She seems like the goose that can't win, man. I mean, is it optics?
I think it's optics. It's a mixture of like what's going on within the.
What? Why? What do you mean? What do I mean by optics? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. So we're gonna. He's being nice over here. He ain't saying everything. He's trying to cover his words.
I mean,
the optics. What we're talking about is she's not married, right?
Correct.
The husband, and I believe the lighter shade of skin. I'm not worried about the colorism, but lighter shade of skin.
Got to do with this shit.
Skin has something to do with AKA.
You know what I'm saying? Like we got that whole like sorority beef going on in the Democratic Party. Period.
There you go.
And so I was being nice because I like
it. Fighting.
But yeah, like I think that that is a part. You know, I mean, they even got Kamala husband out of somewhere. You know. And
yeah. See, we keep it real.
They did go find Kamala husband. You know, we don't know if he's still a husband, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think even with her, I think that like I said, not only just with like her not having a husband, I think it's kind of like people are starting to grow weary of the career politician.
Copy that.
And so it's like old and young. And unfortunately, I think Amanda's kind of in that crossroad of being raised by the old generation. And she's done everything right to be here. But like now people want that Trump.
They want that
person that doesn't come from the system.
Yeah.
And so things like that. And
non-established person.
So yeah, I think that
outsider.
So like I think that like even though she hasn't won, she's a part of, you know what I'm saying? And her look is corporate, and versus like a Jasmine Crockett, with ironically, they both kind of got like the same upbringing, you know what I'm saying, of nice and going to nice schools and things like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it is a different vibe between Jasmine and Amanda, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I think that's part of it as well, like that career politician look. And like I think it's sad, man. Like, not only with her, man, because like I said, what may happen to Menifee the same way.
I hate that she bowed out. I don't know where she goes from here. I don't know what happens.
I don't see nowhere else.
And I say that too because the same thing with Jasmine Crockett. Like I hope that she can pull the primary off. Because I don't believe that she can pull off the general, and I'm like, where do you go from here? She might be podcasting like us.
I did see her on the Breakfast Club, and she was like, she'll go back to lawyering if those cases call, because you know
she was making bread.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying. Like she probably gonna go back to doing that.
Hey, Jasmine, I'm voting for you. I'm gonna vote for you. You know, I just like to see a fighter, and I think they pushed you out here prematurely. I think you could have sat in the Congress for a few more years, and I think you would have been a very good vice president contender type of vibe in a few years. And I know that sounds crazy. I know a lot of people are crazy, but it's not. I see it in there. So
because she's qualified.
She's qualified.
She checked the boxes, man. I think it's just like growing as a politician. And particularly in a crazy place like Texas, where you know, like once again, like you know, as a Texan, you know, we always threatened to secede from the United States.
Oh yeah,
you know, Texas is on.
We Texas Republic. We our own, baby.
And so you know, I think that like she could grow like as a Texas politician as well. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm supporting her, and so like any criticism that I've made of her like publicly so far is more so in the lane of like what I see politically, strategically for a campaign. You know what I'm saying? And once again, I think that's something that we got to get the fuck out of.
We got to get
we got to get out of there. Like just because or just because you criticize a candidate, you bringing them down, or you're not fucking with them still.
Or you're not fucking with them still.
You know
right.
Like we can still like bear with them and be like, oh, what you doing here? Oh, that's a bad move. Hey, what you doing here?
We complex.
Because that's what we got to do in order to. So it's like once again that dichotomy of what we just was talking about on like the party wants us to support candidates but doesn't want us to be able to critique them and hold them to the fire, which this is what we got to do for everybody.
That's what we got to do.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like we said, man, we actually going on record saying we support it. So it's like, but still though, any critique is like, here you go as a black man critiquing a black woman. And it's like, dang, like I can't just critique her as a politician because she is trying to run to win.
Man. Yo, look. It's Filmtrix and Politix. I told you we're going to be real with it. We're going to get as in-depth as we can. We're breaking it down one by one. We went through our politics kind of questions. I believe we got that out of the way. Like I said, this is not going to be too heavy of a political show, you know, but we are going to be keeping our ear to the streets, internet streets, and the real streets. And you will see us in these streets. So when we come back, we're going to talk about Hewwood. And we're going to sit here with Atum Ra, who plays Ace Phoenix in Hewwood. We're going to hear more about that and what's coming up. But, hey, check out these clips from Hewwood. And I think I might throw in a few bonus clips from Chapter 2. We'll see. Exchange of powers. You here with Filmtrix Politix with Kane King and with
Atum Ra in this thing.
Y'all gonna be seeing him a lot, man. Hey, y'all gonna be seeing both of us. So we'll be right back. Hey, go get something to drink, get something to eat, and let's sit back down. Let's talk about it some more. All
right. I used to run dope through here. What could possibly go wrong?
You remember that plan we talked about, bro? About growing our own strand.
Well, instead of that shit just being hopes and wishes, that shit can be a possibility right now, bro.
Where is this? What do you mean come back? Let me go with you, Pop.
Yes, I got bands. Hey, candy paint, leave a stain all in the rain. See my ex in the turning lane. She felt the window pane the way I'm swinging.
Hey, speaking of that freestyle though, y'all do that every night? I mean, that shit was crazy, bro.
Anybody want to get it, I line them up like linemen. I knock them down like pinballs.
Tell them Walter said it want a minute. You knew the fucking rules before you jumped off.
Standing at that edge, I feel the tables turning. Feel like it's ops watching me. Sometimes that makes me nervous.
Nigga, you got no hoes. Anytime I pop up, they want to take my photos.
Bro, you slipping, man. You about to get this glove tugged?
I told you I need this to go away. That money is mine.
By the time the money is needed, I have it back.
Man, you always fucking mentioning food. The only thing I remember about that shit is I had to clean out the car and your ass went missing.
Now, I got the police asking me questions and...
Hold on. You talking to the police?
You know what? I think that's why Thomas showed me those photos.
Photos?
But what I do know is, I'm through with fix ass.
The bullshit, Aaron. You fucked me in that growth expansion deal with those two fucking goofs. You call professional.
You killed Mac, nigga!
Fuck you!
But you got the money.
Yeah, I'm swinging.
Victor better run it or keep running.
I just need to find this ugly motherfucker. And you gonna tell me where he's at.
Caution, disclaimer. This video is created for educational and entertainment purposes only. It reflects my personal thoughts, questions, and independent research, and is intended to foster a film community and encourage discussion. This content is not meant to offend, slander, or present complete or definitive truths. Please do not attempt to replace anything shown or discussed on this program. Filmtrix Politix podcast and its affiliates are not responsible for any mishaps, misunderstandings, or misinterpretations. All opinions expressed by a guest are their own and do not reflect the views of BLKJAGtv, its content, or the Filmtrix and Politix podcast. Enjoy the show, engage respectfully, and be entertained.
Danny got the size, huh?
Democrat he's ever known. Because I don't bullshit. And if I sat up there and I uttered a curse word in the first 3 minutes of the show because I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted for what I'm seeing. And I'm not a person that sits idly by and look at the Democratic Party and think this stuff don't stink. I don't buy somebody telling me it's perfume when they pass gas. And I'm not going to buy it from the Republican Party either. But when I see things that are incredibly alarming, particularly when it comes from this particular president, I get very, very concerned because I think he's a complete aberration. He's a complete anomaly. I don't think that Senator Marco Rubio would be the kind of president that he is in terms of his behavior. I don't think that George W. Bush was that way. I don't think that Ronald Reagan was that way. I don't think that H.W. was that way. I don't think any Republican would be the way this this man has been. So I don't even view him as a Republican or a member of the GOP. I just think that the time has come where we're talking about being alone. It's not just reserved for folks on the left. It's reserved for some of the stuff that we're seeing right now. Let's take into consideration what Trump recently made news for, the latest thing that he's made news for. When he was calling for the GOP to nationalize elections. He not only said it in front of their face, he went on a Dan Bongino show. And he uttered those things. Listen to what he's saying, the President of the United States. Listen to this.
Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least many 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize.
Man, hold on. Man, shut your politics. Shut your politics. Hey, look, I'm doing something a little bit different on this part here. I'm going to listen to this straight shooter, Stephen A. Smith. We all know who Stephen A. Smith is. I'm wanting to do a response video on some of the things that he started off with his soliloquy, the whole beginning monologue piece he has going here. I feel like I need to, and I don't want to, like, make it seem like I'm trying to tear him down, because I'm not. I'm just, because it's entertainment. It's entertainment at the end of the day. Look, this things that I'm saying is not for you to take it and go use it as a weapon. But hey, if you find something that's resonating with you, or similarity of what I'm saying that resonates, or you find that you got a voice through me to be able to say these things, because right now, Stephen A. Smith just seems like he talks out the side of his neck, at the both side of his necks. It's I don't believe what he representing is something of what a true independent should be striving to be. If you call yourself an independent, which is still really a big, broad name of saying, because I know there's like different sector groups. And again, I'm not on here to go in detail of each party and who your party is or whatever. If you want to put that in the comments and you want to talk about it there, that is a good spot for us to discourse it, go into a discourse about it, because that'll give us all time to kind of look it up and figure out what's going on with what. But I don't want to get into particulars. I know the Democrat, I know the Republican, I know the independent, and even in, what Stephen A. here was saying in the beginning, he wanted to make sure that we know that he's independent, because he's been getting his ass chewed up. He's been getting like chewed up on the fact that, he's speaking about the craziness, the nonsensicalness that you're seeing in the Democratic Party. A lot of the Democratic people that lean that way, sometimes you hear people say Democratic shills. They kind of like anything and everything is liberal. It's going to go in that direction, and there's nothing that you could say to them about it. And so he was basically giving Republicans a lot of ammo, which it's there if you just take the whole emotion side out of it, to understand that mostly all the 80% of the country is leaning this way, 20% is leaning this way, and usually the Democrats found them on the 20% side, is like, get with the program. But this Trump derangement syndrome has been going so strong to where he got Stephen A. Smith got a lot of backlash behind it. And some of the stuff like with Don Lemon and Joy Reid, those type of people, I believe they were way off base. So I did like, when he came and stood up for himself and what he meant in that moment. But then it's kind of like he'll kowtow, like kind of backhanded compliment type of vibe. Like, I believe in Jasmine Crockett this way, but it's still, he wants to come back at her and try to say, what she's saying about him is not, appropriate and stuff. And some of the things he said was pretty crazy. I'm not gonna repeat that stuff here. That's why I'm like skipping over it. But what I'm doing right now is what I kind of do. I'll sit back and I'll listen to some different videos, different podcasts, different shows and clips of news and media, what's going on, and I'll come across them. I do like listening to Stephen A. Smith. And but listening to this beginning part, I was just kind of like, okay, it triggered me to where I was like, let me listen to this guy, because some of the stuff he was saying, I'm on my ride home, driving home, and I'm listening, watching, I'm like, he sounds kind of, I couldn't say disingenuous, it was just more so like you're diverting, you're saying one thing and then you're covering it with another, and then you're back covering. It's like, do you hate Republicans? Do you hate Democrats? Why does it have to be that? Why are you trying to pin yourself as this model independent type of thinking? And I don't think that just because the Republican have some problems and things that they need to fix out, and it's appearing that there's chaos going on, and then the left side appearing that it actually is some chaos that is going on. Both sides do have small little civil war battles. I'll say civil battles. They do. Each of them have them. Each side, but definitely on the left side is this overall vitriol. The only thing that's tying them together, tying these islands together, is the fact that they hate Trump. I hit my mic. That they hate Trump. Donald Trump. Donnie T. Teflon Don. They hate the orange guy. They don't like him. TDS. Trump Derangement Syndrome. They don't like him. That's what's binding them together. And that's what's sad, is because a lot of things are being blinded, and a lot of things are being able to be used in a big, taking a baseball bat to a fly, to one little fly flying around, probably like a mosquito, and taking a baseball bat to it. That's what the left seems to be kind of doing, when really there's certain things that they could be appropriating and focusing on a particular demographic within their party, that's the base, that could really ignite some fire, because they're seeing it, because they're using it. And so I'm going to listen to Stephen A. Smith's video here, and fair use. I'm just, doing it for educational purposes, because I kind of want to break down a few things, and I'm going to take my time with it. I'm not sure if we're going to release this with the Filmtrix and Politix. This is probably going to be some new channel sector called, Shut Your Politics, because the politics and the tricks in it. And the reason why I feel compelled to do this, everybody's probably like, why does it matter? It's Stephen A. Smith. We already know we don't like him anyway. Black people don't like him anyways. White people just tolerate him. And according to Joy Reid, he's a tool of white folks to make black people look bad and talk shit about. And he talks real loud, and you think he's saying the right thing. Whatever your perception is, that's your perception. I'm going to let you have it. All I'm doing is listening to someone on the video, and the information that I'm getting, it feels like he's trying to make like the black voter or the minority voter to feel ashamed, in a sense. And also to be able to still believe in these PowerPoints that the Democrats are putting forward. And then inviting this Allred guy onto the show. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm supposed to be doing this like it's some sort of streaming thing, like we're enjoying this together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen. There should be probably some clips I'll play at the same so that way we could feel like we're both seeing it and everything like that. But let's take a listen here. Let me turn this on, and I will probably be fact checking some stuff with my phone right as we on here. Just hey, this is Politix, yeah. Shut your Politix. So,
states that are so crooked, and they're counting votes. We have states that I won that show I didn't win.
Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, naturally we needed somebody significantly more coherent and direct and clear to really clarify for us exactly what the president meant when he talks about nationalizing voting. Listen to her.
What does President Trump mean when he says Republicans ought to nationalize voting? What does that look like in practice?
What the president was referring to is the SAVE Act, which is a huge common sense piece of legislation that Republicans have supported, that President Trump is committed to signing into law during his term. And he spoke with the speaker directly about that yesterday, about the need to get that bill on the floor for a vote, because it provides very common sense measures for voting in our country, such as voter ID. I don't think any rational person who's being honest with themselves would disagree with the idea of requiring citizens of this country to present an ID before casting a ballot in a federal election, or frankly in any election. And that's something the president wants to see happen. So that's what he was referring to.
It would be a lot easier to stomach if it was just that simple. If you didn't come across.
Wait a minute. I mean, it is that simple, right? I mean, how long have we been talking about voter suppression? How long? I know this has been something since the first time I thought about what voting was, and I wasn't able to vote yet. And I've been voting quite some time. So how is it a problem that an ID, you have to have it for everything else? To get alcohol, to pick up your kids from school, I mean, we all know, to get into a nightclub, definitely to buy drinks at the nightclub, to drive a vehicle, some sort of ID has to be created. I understand the idea of there are people that were born before birth certificates were available. Now, matter of fact, let's look that up. Let me look up when did they start doing birth certificates, so that way we can see how old are these people right now. Because then that'll tell us something about, are those people even able to vote or even here still? Let's see. They probably are, and forgive me, we're doing this in real time. I'm looking this up. I'm gonna ask and see when did birth certificates start in America? Just a basic question. Let's see what pops up. I'll get in more detail if we need to. Great question. This is a surprisingly messy answer, because the U.S. didn't roll things out all at once. Birth certificates in America didn't become standard until the early 20th century. And nationwide consistent birth registration was achieved around 1933. Okay, 1933. It was pretty much consistent around the country in 1933, which that's at least 90 some odd years ago. Let's see. Just look it up. Hold on, chat. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So 93 years. So if you were born before they had the birth certificate situation, you'd have to be before 1933, so which is going to place you roughly close to 100 years old or so. So when they bring up the fact about the birth certificate before then, because that's usually what they bring up, you're talking almost 90 to 100 some odd year old person that they're afraid that won't be able to vote because they can't get an ID because you have to have your birth certificate and other documents to get an ID. Also, that elderly person may be very not mobile or some sort of maybe they don't have transportation. Maybe they don't have the family to take them, and those are our considerations. But we also have to consider how many of those. What's the percentage of those people that will need that? How many is that going to be, especially per county? Per area that's registered. What is the overall circumstance of that individualized? But we're talking like in a general big sense of the thing. You'd have to be older than 93 years, 90 some odd years old to be even concerned. So that is something that they keep throwing out. So then you have, like I was talking about, people that may be in these disabled situations that can't get to it. Those are things that we do need to work out. I think those are things that kind of come along with a bigger conversation, which is, qualified, high quality, innovative, in-depth, quality health care and health insurance, if that is what we're going to call it or need that to be, for every single red-blooded, born, naturalized American in the United States of America and its territories. Emphasis on that. And its territories, especially those that are in high climate, weather-driven areas that could be disaster areas, So, like I said, that's a whole nother conversation. But we still do need to make concessions. We need to make ways for folks who possibly need some sort of handicapped or ambulatory way to get where if they want to vote and they're able to vote and they're coherent and you can vote and you got senses you can yes, go vote. Or yes, that part. So that is what I'm doing. I'm just looking up stuff, but I'm gonna go back to the video. I want to go back to the video. I'm going to let it play a little bit more because there's something else that I pinpointed on.
And as a party that was fixated on curbing one's individual to vote in this country. Because when you take into account the fact that you've been The belief is very, very simple. If you're a United States citizen, here legally, whether you were born or here legally, chances are you're going to vote for Republicans. That's what they're saying. And if you're anybody else, chances are, if you find a way to get to the polls or what have you, you know what, you're going to vote Democrat. And you believe this is a voting bloc that the Democratic Party wants to line up. That's your belief. You're going to vote Democrat.
Are y'all hearing that? Did you see that video? He just said, if you're a citizen, and most likely, if you're born here in America and you're a citizen or naturalized, you're most likely that you're going to vote Republican. And then he says, if you can find a way to the polls, you will vote Democrat. Now let's listen to those sentences. Let's break those sentences down. If you are legally born here as a citizen, he's saying that you're most likely going to go vote Republican. I thought about that and I was like, I believe he's trying to base this off of demographics of who is the most registered to vote, who goes and votes the most. And so when he said you're most likely, if you're a citizen here, you're born and you're gonna go vote Republican, or you become a citizen natural, you're gonna go vote Republican. And so I looked up some stuff and I was like, yeah, he can say that because the white population outnumbers every other race or group here. It outnumbers it like swallows it up. Okay? So of course they're gonna have more registered voters than any other minority group. Majority, minority. That's why they call it minority, because they're the lesser and there's not that many of the percentages. So then you go down to the next one. He says, if you find a way to the polls, you will vote Democrat. Why does it have to go back to the voter suppression? And then if it's voter suppression, that automatically kind of takes your mind to blacks and minorities. You know what I'm saying? So he's referring to that if you if you can find a way to make it to the polls, you're gonna vote Democrat. So if you can find a way, meaning that are blacks and minorities so like downtrodden, can't get to the polls, that they have to find a way. And that again is just more like trigger words or dog whistles to keep signaling voter suppression, voter suppression. The reason why I'm bringing up voter suppression so much is because this has been the Democratic play. Yeah. I know you Democrats are listening to me right now that I said that. This has been the Democratic play. This is what they want to play off of is voter suppression. This is what they say. This is what they get to say because they swoon over liberal whites. They discombobulate, upset the conservative whites on this topic, which makes them look like they're strong to the liberal whites, that they're sticking it to the conservative whites by bringing up voter suppression. Time after time after time. The very reason why the vote for the couch came about around the 2024 election for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Trump and that race there, and Vance, that race. That's why the couch thing came alive, because it was saying you keep going to the voter suppression so that way you can say and always fix yourself to say that this is what you're doing for the black community, opposed to listening to the black community about kitchen table issues, things that's based in economics, things that are based inside of our school systems, and things that are based. I did say economics, but the things that and it goes with that, like making jobs for our actual culture and creating that in our actual communities. Instead of having food deserts, we could have factories there and urban farming enough urban farming going on that is supplying these local stores to make them grow into bigger stores, creating corporate structures of mentor individuals that could mentor others, that could be the executive officers and administrating for these companies to build industries, not just create jobs, but to build industries. We don't need just a Big Brother program. We don't need just these after-school programs and teaching things of financial literacy. We need them, but we don't just need them. So make sure you understand what I'm saying. We need all of it, but we don't need just those kind of things. We need to really start understanding how they're placating the team that you say they're supposed to help us. The team that you say that has the most advantageous reasons to help us, as far as the minority or the black community, black race, is supposed to be the Democratic Party. Well, Democrats, DNC, you guys are going to have to understand voter suppression. That's not going to do it. It's not. It's just going to make people, what do you call it, like distant, like, man, they're not even going to be angry no more. They're just going to be like, we know what y'all on. We know what y'all on. We got to go over here. And that over here, I don't necessarily think it's independent. And I don't feel like people want to go what we appear to think Republican is. Because Republicans, they also have an issue that they need to take care of, which they're going to have to start thinking about younger, browner, and more feminine. They're going to have to work on that over there. Because after they get this bravado, macho, whatever going on, machismo stuff going on, after that whole thing dies, that's been around for a long time, like a couple of centuries, what they got going on. This is the last of that. That's why it's so crazy looking like, because it's all of it. They're going to have to, like I said, younger up, browner up, and feminine up. However that looks. However that looks. And that's what I'm going to put it at. I'm being serious, Republicans. That's what you're going to have. That's what you're going to have. Because you guys are putting a mirror up to the Democrats and saying this is what they're going to need to do. But the thing is that the thing that the Democrats need to do, they need their base to see it too first. Democrats aren't going to see, because the Democrats are running off of the bubble that was winning in the 80s and 90s with programs and things that they were putting together, because there were some real fighters in there, that was really doing some real work. And I don't mean that by any disrespect, that there's no real work going on right now, but there was some real work going on at that time. But the Democrats got to understand that bubble, it's now deflated. There is no more ether, gas, helium, methane, whatever. There's no more lift in that bubble no more. It looks like the Ozzy Osbourne's daughter deflated. And shots fired! Shots fired! Yeah. But the problem is, and then the people that are inside of that bubble, the black male and the black female voter, they are suffocating and can't see it that they're suffocating, because the bubble is all around them. And all they got to do is just poke a hole and stretch out. And that poke a hole stretching out is you looking outside your bubble and look and say, hey, what is the Democratic Party shooting at us? What are they persuading us to get behind? That's how you break the bubble. That's how. You start asking questions. Why are we talking about voter suppression? Let me give you some numbers. Why are we talking about voter suppression? When we have approximately a 49 million population of black Americans that are, according to the census, 49 million population. 33 million of them are registered voters. Yeah. Matter of fact, 33, I think it's 33.5, 33.6 million are registered black voters out of 49. So that leaves us 16 million people that don't vote and can't vote because they're not registered. That's 16 million black people right now from 2024 census that don't vote, can't vote, not registered. So that means that's 33 million black registered voters. But out of that 33 million black registered voters, only 11%, maybe 13, but 11% will go vote, which that means 3.6 million. That's 3 million out of 49 million people. 3 million people are voting. And out of that 3 million, they're not all voting Democrat. So do you see how small that number gets and how lesser that fist gets? So that's why they're fighting for those 16 million that aren't even getting registered, that aren't even going to go vote, opposed to rallying that 33 million to go at least use your registry. You're registered. You went as far as registering, which means you had to use some sort of identification or some sort that you had to pass along on a form. You had to write something down. You got registered. That's what that is. But we and the media and the public, what we're sitting there arguing about in the Facebook comments is the 16 million that aren't even, they're not even ready. So imagine this. Y'all still with me? Y'all still with me? Imagine this. You're at a track meet, right? And you need to have 33 players. But you can only get 3 players to make it. That's all you can get to make it. And you got 16 people that come through the gym that, you know, that they don't even have a schedule to be on they don't even have a schedule to come to the gym class. They not even registered to go. But you out there and you got the 33 that's still sitting in there. And but you got 33, no, you got 27. No, you got 30, sorry, 30, because we're talking about 3 million. You got 30 kids who are on the team. They just ain't there. You don't know why. You got 30 people on the team. You got 3 that are on the bus ready to go. You need the other 30, but you got 16 that's on the hallway that ain't whatever. And you're, as a coach, going out there. They ain't been trained. They ain't got no track shoes. They mama and daddy don't even know they supposed to go, that they might be able to go to a track meet. That they don't have no lunch with them or no lunch money or nothing, because they're gonna be in the bleachers all day in the sun, and it might be chilly cold because, you know, in track season is sometimes it rains and it's cold, chilly a little bit still coming out of the winter going into the spring. So you telling me as a sound mind body coach, you're not gonna go try to rally up those 30 possibly lazy track athletes you got that's supposed to go. You're not going to go rally up those 30 to get they patooties on that bus and get to that track meet. But you're going to, and then you're going to praise, and you're going to, not praise, you're going to hold every trophy, every track situation on those 3 that's on the bus. The 3 that's on the bus, they doing they do. But my whole point is, y'all, I got on a tangent. I didn't want to lose nobody, but I like to try to teach the folks that's sitting in the back of the room. But what I'm saying is that when we talking about voter suppression, and I'm sure this video comes out, you know, the usual suspects are probably going to come after me and be in the comments. Maybe they'll make a clip of my video. But I really do have a question, and I'm ready to be told, nah, you're wrong, Kane. This is why voter suppression is important in 2028, in 2026. This is why voter suppression is going to be important. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna listen, like all the way listen, all the way, and see what the answer is. But right now, this is my answer right here. This is my answer right here. So anybody want to put in the comments like, you talking all this stuff, but what's the solution? What's the solution? See, that person right there, they need to be in the back of the room so they can like wait their turn to listen what's going on, because you're impatient. You're not in the back of the room because you're in trouble. You're in the back of the room because we want to teach you a lesson of patience. You're going too fast. You need to listen first. That's why we got 2 eyes and 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means listen, look, observe, listen again, smell a little bit, and then talk. Okay? So the thing is that, like I said, of course we have 16 million some odd people. And some of that 16 million people, they might be people that's incarcerated. They might be people that just tapped out the system off the grid. There might be people that are probably under the age to register to vote yet, but they're counted on the census. This is talking about the entire population of the black population and breaking it down. But still, the numbers are very telling. Because now, let me jump to the white population. White population. White population, 256 million some odd people are white in this country. 176 million of them are registered to vote. Ready to go. 80 million out of that 176 million that are registered to vote, only 80 million of them go vote, which is 71 to 73% of the population, of 73% of the registered population will go vote. That's high. 71 compared to our 3%. This is not comparative to the size of us. This is comparative to the percentage of like the total of blacks and then the total of whites separately. The total of blacks, 3.6 million of us are gonna go vote. Out of the white, 80 million of them are gonna go vote, regardless. 80 million, and we seen that with the state. I guess the number supposedly the general popular vote that Trump won in the 2025. I always get that confused. 2025 presidency, 2024 race, whatever you want to say. I'm gonna fix this in the edit. But was 70, I always say 77 million people voted, for Trump. And here we are, 80 million voters on the white folks' side. But they also have 80 million that don't vote, can't vote because they not registered at all. But you don't see them going after that 80 million like the way black, or the way, not I don't say black, but the way Democrats target at the black demographic and who ain't voting. And I'm saying they target it in the sense of like how they phrase their words when they're talking about voter suppression. When they want to defend voter suppression, they bring up the fact that there's some people that weren't able to get birth certificates before the birth certificates were here, so they're not able to get IDs. And then also, elderly black people who live in rural areas that's very remote. There's not enough voting places that are close enough. There are not enough options. But these are talking about, I believe, like procedural options and operations that are locally on the ground of how we could get those people to vote or get voting places or stuff. But those are things that happen after we get past using voter suppression as a filibuster to waste time in Congress when we could be working on real kitchen table issues that the base of Democrats talk about. And I keep saying base because I don't want to pinhole it as like the black man and the black woman and we're trying to do some black power type of thing. Power to the people, yes, but at the same time, I'm just saying in the scientific numerology, numeric form of saying this is the base. This is the dominant voter in your party. This is who's talking. This is who you use to put in front of rest of the world of who has moral upstanding value and who to vote for. The first black woman vice president. We're not even sure on that, according to Candace Owens. And yes, we could bring up that because we're not going there. But the thing is that the most degreed people, they got the most degrees as black women. You guys tout that. Y'all tout that quite a bit. Y'all gave black men the best dad award where we're involved in our children's lives. Okay, cool. But now let's really focus on what do these educated moms, working moms need? Or educated women? It may not even be moms. I don't want to pin it like that at all. Sorry, for real. What are these educated women need? That's to help their families, to help whatever they built to be their families. The men the same way. The family married units that are married that need just that little help that we're hearing migrants are getting. We're hearing that the Democrats are going from 50,000 a year to 150,000 a year, and then the big jump to 9 million. Worth 150 million. In 4 years, you go from making a low six-figure salary, a mid-level six-figure salary to millions. We need that knowledge. We definitely do, especially the school systems could use that. Like I said, I'm just listening to what he's saying. I'm just listening to Stephen A. Smith. I'm taking a deep dive. I'm breaking it down, little by little. I'm giving you these notes, PowerPoints, things that I'm looking at. Like if I'm off, wrong, whatever, put it in the comments, baby. Let's talk about it. I really do want to talk about it. This is Shut Your Politics, with Kane King, your filmmaker. Also, we have our show, Filmtrix and Politix. This is just something I'm doing on the side. I feel like I don't know when I'm going to release these, but I wanted to do a response to Stephen A. Smith as he was doing his breakdown here. So I'm going to listen to some more. I hope you guys are still hanging with me. And just 1 second, I'm loading it up.
The Democratic Party wants to line up. That's your belief. Now, me being a centrist, me being a moderate, I'm the first to say to you, hey, you know something? I usually have to show voter ID for an abundance of other things. What's the big deal with showing it for voting? And I get that part. But then I remember who we're dealing with here and who we're talking about. And we're not just talking about a president.
Talking double talk right there. He says he understands why we should have voter ID. To nationalize U.S. elections is part of what they say in the SAVE Act. I'll find a clip, of course, and I'll put a clip here so we can get a quick understanding of the SAVE Act for those in the back of the room and those over there that don't understand.
People are saying it would block women from voting. Paul Spade checks that claim for PolitiFact.
Would a new bill disqualify voters who have changed their names? Well, that's what some people are saying about the SAVE Act, also known as the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. Take a look.
I don't care if you are red or blue, you need to listen up. If you are a woman that has changed your name from your birth certificate, let's say through marriage, and you took your husband's name, you are no longer eligible to vote if this bill passes the Senate.
Is she right about this bill making women ineligible to vote? No, not really. The bill says people would have to show certain types of ID in order to register to vote. That could be a real ID, a military ID, or even a passport. You can see some of those options here. And the number of Americans with passports is growing. It went from 46% in 2023 to 51% in 2024. But that still means roughly half of Americans don't have a passport. And critics worry that women who change their name could face complications if the name on their birth birth certificate doesn't match the one on one of those forms of ID. A recent Pew Research survey found that nearly 80% of women who get married change their last name. So they could face some hangups if that bill passes, but that TikTok video goes way too far. The bill would not automatically disqualify women who change their name, and that's why the Truth Meter rates that video mostly false. Read more about this issue at WRAL.com.
The president is calling on Republicans again and Democrats to pass the SAVE Act. I will reiterate, requirement for voter ID to vote. That should be something that no American should oppose. In fact, we know that the vast majority of Americans support it. Requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote, which is not hard to do. We should be able to do that in this country. If you want to register to vote in the United States of America, you have to be a citizen in the United States of America.
The SAVE Act is definitely just pointing out what we just talked about, so that way we don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about elections being miscounted, something nefarious happening, somebody voting that can't vote, because there is probable cause that a few million immigrants or phantom people that aren't even alive voted and were counted. And now they do have some stuff going on in Georgia over there with the files, over 22,000 or 20,000 voter ballots or whatever were found, all the boxes taken out. That is something. That'll be something as well. So there is probable cause to why we would want to make sure that the vote for national federal elections is secure, because there is possibly that he was robbed in that 2020 election. Possibly things would have went a different direction, because it wasn't like Biden was just coming out and was fresh. They didn't even know he was gonna run until like at least 6 or 7 months. I mean, it was like 3 or 4 months after like everybody announced, and they had this whole big old panel of people, and Kamala Harris was involved with that as well. They didn't even I don't even think they wanted to say his name, Joe Biden. They were just mentioning it as in like they threw it out there to see, okay, if we say Joe Biden isn't going to hold any weight. They threw it out there like, oh, there's talks of Joe Biden jumping in a race, and then somebody, well, it's too early to call that, buddy. That's us. We don't know what's really corroborated on that. But they're talking. But if we did have a Joe Biden, and then they kind of squeeze Michelle Obama, they'll talk about that a little bit, and then all of a sudden, 3 or 4 months later, Joe Biden is coming in as a candidate. And that's when I knew from the Bernie Sanders situation, the fix was fucking on. The fix was in. I knew that Joe Biden was going to be the next president, no matter what. This is before. So now I'm being totally honest with you guys. Totally. I'm being transparent here. I knew the fix was in. I was like, yep. They gonna put Joe in that office. I know they are, because they want Obama in there again, and that's the closest they can get. But I was like, because I was already thinking Joe ran a few times, and I think that he lost like 2 or 3 times for presidency. So when he got the vice president with Obama, it was kind of like, all right, we got a black guy in there. Let's go ahead and put old Joe with him. You know, Joe, keep an eye on him, and you know how Joe is. He's loose at the lips. He'll let us know what's going on with that black guy in the office. We got it. I mean, makes sense to me. But anyways, we gonna keep moving on, because I like I said, I'm breaking this down piece by piece. Why? Is because we have a lot of our like legends and heroes and leaders we grew up with in the 80s and 90s now out here crying. That's literally what it is. Out here crying. We got comedians just saying stuff. I don't know if they getting a check or not. I don't know if it's just for they might be able to go talk at a convention for the Democrats or something like that or whatever. But hey, money is money. You get your bag. Entertainers. But I definitely want to be here to like kind of like look at it and point out like, yo, enough is enough. This is some real talk. This is a real kitchen table stuff that we need to be figuring out. And I'm only addressing this because this is something that could go national, because we're talking about national elections. You know, and I'm not talking about like me going viral or whatever. I'm talking like the conversation going national, because it'll get the attention, but it also we need to trigger the local attention. The sheriffs, the judges, the some of the district attorneys and lawyers and that's coming up that you see this problem. We need to like be making that exciting. And I think a lot of it has been make stuff. If you're into politics, if you're into political science, I think a lot of it has been made exciting for the upper echelons of elections, like the national election and all those kind of things. But we already know like the primaries and the midterms and those kind of things, low turnout rates. But to see the low turnout rates for a national election, to know that 16 million people are not even trying to figure out how to vote. But I guarantee you, 6 million of that 16 million are people on Facebook talking shit about Trump, talking shit about Jasmine Crockett. I bet talking shit about Cardi B, talking shit about Nicki Minaj. I guarantee you out of that. And it's only because we not establishing some sort of tradition with that. We do have to have a reading revolution. We need to start reading again. We need to start understanding our power is in the language, is in the words and how we utilize them and how we maneuver. We have to do that. We have to start growing and evolving, that we have just as much privilege as any other co-founding builder of America here, if not even more. And I actually feel that way, entitled that way, because of where my heritage and my lineage comes from, right here in Americas. So I feel like this is why, and I also too know that there's people out there that would love for me to, break this down, because it's stuff that they hearing, stuff that they're seeing. And so I just want to get this in and share this out, because voter suppression, that can't be the number one thing you're doing for us. That's like we want, meatloaf, and you're over here giving us a damn hash brown, and putting ketchup on it and calling it meatloaf. No. We should be discussing other things that I'm not going to mention, but we will figure that out. Let's keep listening, man.
President that's fixated on voting. We're talking about a president that's fixating on reminding the world that he believes he was robbed of an election.
Oh, yes. That's what I wanted. That's why I stopped the first time when he said show voter ID, and then he said, then I remember who we dealing with here, referring to Trump. Stephen A. Smith saying that he doesn't mind showing voter ID. He doesn't mind the voter ID naturalization, that the doing the elections that way. He wouldn't mind that. But he worries him, and he puts the worry in his vocal. Then I remember who we, not who we are dealing with, but who we dealing with here. So he's trying to use a vernacular to tap dance on a spiritual tone of how we in our community talk to each other. So that's a reference. And then you got to say, then I remember walking up to the mountaintop. So he's calling out a little ode of little. This would be like a little, like if you was to take a little pinch of salt and just to spritz on there. He's just putting a little spritz on there from taking a little Martin Luther King and putting it. Then I remember who we dealing with here. So trying to get your mind to go into this civil rights moment, to this Jim Crow realm. See, he's spitting cursive words to you and spelling. He's casting a spell and spitting this cursive word to you. Then I remember who we dealing with here. That's Stephen A. That's what he's saying. I'm just breaking this down. That's what I'm doing. So he's trying to evoke these Jim Crow-ish civil rights moment realm so you can get into that whole moment of thinking and keep on thinking like Trump is racist. I'm going to put a pin right there, man. When are we going to stop talking? I mean, when are we going to figure this out? I think Morgan Freeman and somebody else be saying it best when they say, like, when we're going to stop talking about it. I mean, when we're going to be just American? When is the slavery going to be American history? This is what happened in America, from Americans on Americans. Yes, you heard it here. Slaves are Americans. We keep hearing African slaves, and that's not to denounce the 2%, the 2 to 3% of African slaves that were shipped here to the North America. That does not diminish any of that. It does not diminish any of my African brothers that are in the Pan-African movement, that are FBA, that are still black, that are still saying they're African and they have roots in Africa. It does not diminish any of that. Because like I'm telling you, like I keep saying, I'm using science. I'm talking about it in a numeric way, in a real way. What I read, that 2% of African slaves came to the North Americas, and that's 2% of 100%. So the other 98%, who the hell and what the hell were they? Yeah. So, and even if they were all Africans brought over here to the Americas, just like them pilgrims came over here from England to the Americas and they became Americans, just like them Irishmen, the Italians, just like the Portuguese, just like the Spaniards, they came over here and became Americans. Guess what? As soon as we stepped on this soil and started toiling it and building it and cultivating it, bleeding in it, sweating in it, we became Americans. From the first ones. You could say 1619. You could say 1492. You could say 1311. You could say 1199 AD. The Council of Nice. Look them up. Look it up. I know I got that from the Black Authority. I don't want him to get at me. I'm doing that out of respect. Doing that out of honor. But look it up, guys. Whichever it puts a whole other connotation and ring to it when you know that we're Americans. We've been Americans, no matter what color we are, whatever we could put whatever in front of it. We're foundational Black Americans, foundational Indigenous Black American, right here. You're looking at it. That means something. That's stuff that we should be using to empower our youth. Like I keep telling you, we need to talk to the third graders and get them ready to understand what civic duty is and all these things so they can get excited about voting in the local elections. So that way we can really start seeing the actual changes that we need instead of seeing these symbolic wins, instead of seeing these things tied up between Amanda Christian Menifee and Amanda. I'm sorry, I'm missing her name. And then he wins, and now we're looking at losing the seat to Al Green, this guy he doesn't have his time. It's time for youth to come through. Maybe you just be an even advisor. I don't know. Tell us why. What are you gonna do? Because if you're just going in there just to go so you can wave your cane at Trump and do the whole impeachment thing all over again, we got enough of that, bro. He's on his last term, bro. This is it. This is all that's there. And if you don't want a war or anything to break out so he can become this wartime president and he don't have to come out of office, then why don't you guys in Congress start talking to each other and trying to work with the current administration as best you can and strategize behind the scenes how to get back into that office. But this grandstanding and Christian Menifee, you don't need to do that either. We don't need you to go fight Trump. Trump's done, bro. That's done. No one needs to hear that noise. That's just this echo chamber right here in Houston. That's just the echo chamber right here. This big blue, beautiful area here. I don't care if it's blue or red, guys. It's the same bird to me. So I could talk about it how I talk about it, but I'm not gonna act like I can't tell you strategy and how you could really galvanize and do this. And I know you guys are probably saying I'm talking very hugely over the conversation and there's a lot of minutiae and details into it and all that. I bet there is, man. I bet there is. But it ain't worked yet. It ain't worked yet. I'm looking at you dead in your eyes. It ain't worked yet. So it's time to do something new. It's time. You know what I'm saying? It is. It's time. But I wanted to bring that up because I don't want to feel like I skimmed over the whole like Trump racism thing. Like I've heard a lot of it. I don't want to say I heard it all because that I don't want to knock off anybody who want to write a comment that they've heard something I thought I may not have heard. But I've heard a lot to say when he wrote the spread about the 5 boys that may have killed the lady in the park. They didn't do that to the lady in the park. Those Democrats, there was a district attorneys and the judge that put them behind bars that actually convicted them. The police officer, I believe, some of them were Democratic police officers. Donald Trump actually in his paper he was answering a question about capital punishment and what should be done, and that's where they got that sentence from and made it seem like he was saying those boys need to be killed. But what he was saying, if they were the ones that did kill that lady in a heinous way, yes, they should face the death penalty. He didn't know how old they were, and if he did know how they were, even though in the paperwork, you can go read it for yourself, go look it up, he's answering a question within another question, which is basically about capital punishment, not directly at those boys. But even so, that's something that was a different time in New York at those times. And so they're using this story in order to make it seem like, okay, this is the foundation. And then the whole like rental of he wouldn't rent to black folks, but at the same time, he let Jennifer Hudson stay in his Trump towers for free. Apparently, he sent over his plane for Nelson Mandela to be able to use to get around. Countless things where we see like Don King, all kind of black celebrities, pictures with Trump. Because he's there at their event. He's there enjoying what's going on. He was in entertainment for the majority of his life, seemed like. So I'm just more so like, I don't put it across any person of a demographic of a culture that they're going to have some biases. They're going to have some prejudices. They're going to be bigoted. He's 80 some odd years old. He's from a different time period as well. So just like most 80-year-olds around here, if you went out to the rural areas, there is a certain way of living that they are accustomed to. Does that make it right, wrong, or not? Hey, that's for you to figure it out. I'm okay with it because I usually can go kick it with anybody. It don't matter, rednecks to yuppies to gangsters to hood to regular smojos to weekend warriors like myself. So I don't have any kind of qualms like that, but I see it and I understand how it's used against us in a marketable way, and I just wanted to point that out by Stephen A. Smith saying that and what he was actually saying. And so I'm gonna kind of fast forward a little bit, get to this one part I think I want to cover, and then I'll probably get off of here and close off. This is the longest I think I've ever been straightforward, just talking and doing it this way. And so, like I told y'all, this is a journey for me, and this is therapeutic for me as well to be able to like bounce things off of you, bounce things out loud that I'll be thinking about, and really try to see if something that I could say could spark up a conversation, that could spark up a committee, that could spark up an organization, that could spark up something to get campaigned about and something to make some change. That's where I'm sitting at as a regular Texas citizen right here in Houston, Texas, in the middle of this big blue berry in the big old Red Sea. So this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm saying. So let's look at this Colin Allred guy, which he was supposed to be running, but he bowed out so that way Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico, sorry if I butchered your name, can run. And they recently got into some beef flare because apparently, allegedly, one of James Tallarico's assistants or one of his aides that works with him, he confided in her in a private conversation off the record type of vibe. I guess they were kind of off work or whatever. And she says that he tells her that he didn't know if he was gonna be running against a smart black woman like Jasmine Crockett, opposed to running against a black black guy. And so that kind of ruffled some feathers. Of course, Jasmine Crockett's team quickly pounced on that to run with it, to start some sort of infighting amongst the two, because Jasmine Crockett, she is up against the ropes. And she hasn't been looking that good as far as winning the primaries, and she seemed to have been a shoo-in for the Democratic primaries to be the darling to win. But Tallarico seems to have pretty much a lot of the independents on his side. He has a lot of good people rooting for him because of the biblical side of him, and also him being that he is a white guy, I believe, allegedly. I don't know. But at the same time, I think that he has this, common run-of-the-mill kind of feel. She's this loud, a lot of times wrong, black woman running for the Texas Senate seat, which I believe, like I told before, I said this before on the live, I haven't said it officially, but I'm saying it officially now, that my prediction is the fact that if she doesn't get it, and this is from listening to several folks, a black conservative, love listening to that guy. Certain things, there's a couple of things that I don't agree with him. I don't agree with your reparations. I don't agree at all with your reparations stance at all, and I'm making that clear right now. I don't agree with that. So anybody who does listen to the black conservative, very knowledgeable guy, very funny, but at the same time, the reparations part, I don't agree with. Same thing with Anton, very great guy, very good, but I don't agree with his stance on reparations at all. But that's a whole nother show, and we'll talk about that another time. But at the same time, I think that these are my prediction is that Tallarico is he got the Republicans kind of shaking in their boots as far as the Texas Senate goes, and because he's the one that actually could win the primary, and then if he goes to the general election, he actually still has a good standing to be able to galvanize people in the general election, especially with a lot of the stuff that's been going on with the Minnesota stuff, with the ICE and all kind of different areas. Just the vitriol that the Democrats have, and a lot of independents that lean left Stephen A. Smith, a lot of independents that lean left, they would vote for him. I don't think anybody is like head over heels about the guy. I don't believe that that's anything like that. There's a lot of fumbling and bumbling he's doing, especially with what he's saying. He put his foot in his mouth in a way. If he said it the way he said it, he put his foot in his mouth. And being because you are a white guy, you are running, and you basically are pinpointing kind of race a little bit, if that's what it is. But from his kind of apology and saying how Aldred had to work twice as hard being a black man, you know, and he didn't mean it that way. He would never, they're on the same team. I mean, was he wrong? I don't think he was wrong, especially the campaign we seen Allred do. It is kind of mediocre. It was kind of cookie cutter kind of vibes. It really didn't stand out. I mean, it was really kind of pushed. Like, I felt like if Allred ran that campaign in the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s, yeah, voting all day, win all day, ain't no problem. But now after 2015, everything has shifted. Everything has changed, especially after 2020. Everything has changed. You need to actually show people the tangible products of what's going on. Who are you fighting for? Who are you working with? Who are you going to go after? How are you going to make change? Are you going to do what you say you do? Because we're in the league of show me. That's where it's at. So when James Tallarico said mediocre, I'm believing he was meaning the campaign side of it. I'm going to lean that way. I do believe that he means the campaign side of it. And so when he said that, and then when he says, he's going to be going against a smart Jasmine Crockett, I believe he meant that. Jasmine Crockett she is a smart lady. She got where she's at. She's very intelligent. I think she's not being advised properly on the tactics that she's taking. I'm going to say right now, I'm rooting for her to win the primary because I believe that her winning the primary, she's not going to be able to win a general. So that's automatically going to get the right folks in the seat. Because right now, Democrats are just not in the right mind frame to be in the seat. They're not in the right mind frame right now. And I'm sorry if that's going to put them back another 15 years or 10 years on that or whatever. It's just they're not in the right mind frame. Right now, we need people who have economic mind frame to get this country back on track, to get everything where it needs to be at, so that way we can start really building out some of these issues that we need to talk about, which are a lot of people, not just black people, have kitchen table issues. But like I promised, I'm going to go back to this Allred video and let it play. Hold on. Hold on, let me back that up.
Video, there was a claim on it about a private conversation. You said it's that disqualifies James Tallarico, the Democratic representative running for the U.S. Senate. He's saying it was a mischaracterization and denies the framing that he was accused of making. I want you to remind the audience of what you believe was said and why you took such umbrage with what reportedly came out of his mouth. Just take it away in your own words.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen A. Well, listen, I take no pleasure in this. Okay, this is not the kind of stuff I spend my time on. I'm a serious person.
And I believe him right there. I absolutely believe him. I believe that he is not a person that wants to deal with this. I believe he heard the plan from the team captain, and he did his job because he's a football player. He's an athlete. He's an athlete. I believe he actually, everything he just said right there, I'm going to see if I can back that up a touch.
That he was accused of making. I want you to remind the audience of what you believe was said and why you took such umbrage with what reportedly came out of his mouth. Just take it away in your own words.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen A. Well, listen, I take no pleasure in this. Okay, this is not the kind of stuff I spend my time on. I'm a serious person, And I don't mind being criticized. But what was said here, and as reported by this young woman who was his supporter, who endorsed him
Listen to this.
when he was running against me, who believed in him but was shocked to hear him say that he was planning on running against a mediocre black man, meaning me, not a talented and intelligent black woman, meaning Jasmine Crockett, right? And that was the framing that upset her and was shocking to her, because criticizing me or my campaign would not have been shocking to her, but criticizing me on racial grounds was. And I think, to me, that's the kind of thing that has to be.
And see, this is where I pick a bone with that. You're picking when you want to be when you want to have racial identity politics. See, the Democrats ushered in identity politics, man. And now when it's coming back to be able to be a weapon to cause some sort of minor, unnecessary civil war within the party, just so that way you can get someone in the primaries because she's not doing well, you guys go for the jugular. Now you're accusing this man, James Tallarico, of being racist because he complimented a black woman and he told his truth about a actual black man, because you said you were a black man. And within the Democratic Party that y'all always talking about, we need a black woman this, we need a first black this, a first that, and da-da-da-da. But now, all of a sudden, identity politics are out the window. Or it's not really out the window. I guess I got to take that back. It's more so that you get to use it in a sense of like, how dare you, white guy, say that about us, about me. What you got, but you did get butthurt because he called you mediocre, because you know that sting, because that ain't the first time you've heard that. That ain't the first time you've heard that. I'm going to scour and find some clips to see if I can find the clips where I heard some of the news pundits kind of mention the level of your campaign. And I don't know if they used the word mediocre, but it was probably in the same derivative. So probably the same. But Alred, you're all right with me, man. I hope that you get a chance to win in that, and I hope you get a chance to run later on for a seat. But I'm going to say, Jasmine Crockett, if she doesn't get primary, it's already over. When she does get primary and make it to the general, if she carries on with this TDS, this Trump situation, this whole blah, blah, I'm loud and I'm wrong type of vibe, she's not going to pass the general. No one's going to vote for the general. The Beto could not win. He almost killed himself trying to get to every county in Texas, all the rural areas. I don't see it, Jasmine, going any further than the primary. I felt like your team should have talked to you and had you just chill in the Congress and just rode the pine for a little while, just so you can have, because you are a strong candidate. You are somebody. And so I don't know where that's gonna go, but I'm rooting for you for the primaries. I hope you make it. Tallarico, I think that you're gonna be all right. I think you just need to chill for a couple of weeks, and I think you'll be okay. But get out there with a good fight. It just kind of put your foot in your mouth. You can't talk. Can't. I guess you can't say that. I guess identity politics don't work for you until they tell you, till they give you your assignment that's what you're gonna be doing. But Democrats, we can't be picking and choosing. We gotta figure out which one we want to do. We gotta figure that out. Let me watch a little bit more, and then I'm gonna probably close out. Like I said,
I've always said that in politics, I'm not gonna withhold my opinions on things like this, but I have a few rules. And my rules are pretty simple, which is that I don't respond to criticism. I don't respond to people who have an opinion about me. That's fine. That comes with the territory. But if you cross over and do something that I think is inappropriate or that can demean a larger group or even impact young people watching and thinking that, hey, maybe running for office is not for me.
See, this is the issue too with him. This is just on him right now. This is not about any other stuff we talked about. Whatever. Let's get some record scratches here. this right here, the way he is on this interview right now, this is why. Like, you should be selling yourself right now on whatever you're running on and talk. You should be talking whatever they're running for the Senate seat. He should be talking Senate wise, right? We should be seeing him and be like, wait a minute, they made the wrong decision. Talarico nor Jasmine is, but they can't. This is the thing with the Democrats. They got their people on lock. Democrats, somebody's going to have to jump out of the box. Somebody's going to have to do it. Somebody's going to have to do it. I'm telling you. I wonder if Kendrick Lamar let me use that song. Somebody got to do it. Put it on the gas or something. I don't know the lyrics. Somebody put it in the comments, man. Look, Allred, you have to like really start selling yourself in your words, your body movement, your tone, your look, every time, no matter what, man. But hey, that's what I wanted to talk on. There's plenty more to go on with Stephen A. Smith. But what I wanted to say to Stephen A., I would say, and it's little old me, he'll probably never see this, I don't know. But I think that there's nothing wrong with your opinion and your commentary and your vocal views, everything. I just wanted to like really pinpoint something to where if you do clap back at me, I hope that you direct it at the answers that I'm looking for, the things that I broke down from you and stuff like that. I definitely would like to like say that I don't believe that being independent is what you're displaying. I don't feel like that's what it should look like. I think that you should just be, if you want to be a Democrat, you should just be able to be if that's what you say you are, then cool. I think you should just be able to be American. And I think that you should be able to vote Democrat or Republican how you choose, which you say you do. I'm not saying you don't, but I'm saying when you keep pinning it as I'm an independent, those people who really are independent, they, it's not about like, I don't think it should be about that just because if you don't have a candidate that's independent, or you don't have a strong Democrat, that the Republican can't be an independent's choice. Even if it wasn't their choice, but once the choice is made and it becomes a Republican, when does the independent and the Democrat coalesce and come and help that winner make the country a winner? When does that work? And I asked the question on the other side. If the Democrats are in the lead, when does the Republicans and the independents or whatever come and help the Democrats? When does that happen? Is that supposed to happen? Or is this just a soap opera? Is it? Is it a soap opera? Look, guys, I'm just a filmmaker's filmmaker, Kane King. I'm no threat. I'm asking questions. I'm inquisitive. I just want to know, what do you guys think? Let's talk about it, Or you could just tell me, like, I'm just asking questions. I just want to know. When do we come together and coalesce? When do we stop the racial identity social politics within us, so that way we can get past and not have to be like, the election don't matter to me, it don't bother me, it ain't got nothing to do with me, it ain't never gonna help me. The voter suppression, most people ain't gonna do it. If we have these if we nationalize the elections, then people aren't gonna be able to go, and they're not gonna want to go vote. They're already not voting, and they're not gonna want to go vote. It shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that. We should be providing an opportunity for all the decisions. Like, if I'm a realist, I don't want to say I'm independent. I don't want to say I'm a Republican. I don't want to say I'm a realist. What's really going on? What's really happening? What can I really do? I ain't want to curse. But hey, I'm out. I think I did enough here. I think I tried to listen to that, and I'm good. Stephen A., God bless you, man. But I think you really need to soul search about what an independent really is, and I think you really should, your influence, talk to some Democrats that have some power and influence, that voter suppression ain't it, the identity politics ain't it, the making another white man be a racist within your party, you're already doing it to Trump, ain't it. That just needs to stop. People are annoyed about that, you know. Those of you out there who feel differently, hey, the comment lines are open. You can comment all you want, as long as you want. All I ask is if you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I hope that you smash that like button. But like I said, you may disagree or agree with what I have said, the commentary, things I've said, and the comment lines are open right now. You could call in right now and type your message. But until then, shut your Politix.